violence without realizing that the real content of any kind of revolutionary thrust lies in the principles and the goals that you're striving for, not in the way you reach them. You reach them.
All right, what is up, YouTube? Miss Judy, hey, how you doing, Mama? Good afternoon, catching you. I'm so happy to be back. It's been a minute. I got my sis on here with me, Ashley D. What's up, sis? Sis, can you hear me? Y'all, we got something for y'all. We got to see what's going on with the volume, but we definitely got something. Jade, what's up, Jade? And with Miss Judy, pretty good. How are you, Ashley? We are doing great. I'm happy to see you come in, Ma. We've been discussing a lot of things, trying to get a lot of clarity and help to clear Kevin Wesley's name. It's been a lot of things going on as far as these accusations. Miss Judy, I don't know how many of the videos that you've seen, but catch a few, so it can get you updated and everything to see what's going on. We definitely been we've been going hard for Brother Kev. And lately we've been me and Ashley D, we've been the the point of attention. And a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but Brother Cali, Chief Cali, has been very upset with us speaking on this topic. But what I try to, hey sis, you on? Can you hear me, sis? If you want to check your volume. Yes, they've been going hard at Brother Kevin for a long time. And I just want to bring my observation, give insight and give a little clarity. I think there's been a judgment that's been going on. And a lot of people haven't really been taking that deep dive into actually paying attention as far as to what has been going on. And so I wanted to be able to, just give my observation and put my perception out there, give some clarity, and lately, brother Chief Cali, he's been very upset that me and Ashley D have been speaking on this topic. Let me see again, Ashley D. Oh, you in there? I think I hear you, sis.
Okay, I'm apologize. I was just talking and everything, and I forgot I had those AirPods plugged up.
Oh, it's
So
okay.
was I talking over you?
Oh no, it was muted as if I couldn't hear you.
Talk.
Talking to everybody. Thumbs up if you see here, just add your second, just get everything situated. That's crazy. Then I had to block the number. The chief of police decided to call me back again to vote.
I don't know if you're sounding a little bit wavy, sis.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's kind of like wavy, like it's going out a little bit.
Okay, mine going out a little bit, sis.
Oh, I hear you perfectly now. Stay
Okay,
just like
good.
that. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you, sweetheart?
I'm doing okay. We're gonna keep pressing on. You get what I'm saying? Because a lot of things happen in YouTube where people in my opinion become very emotionally driven. So I've been trying to practice to stay in a at a certain base, to not become trapped into that tunnel a little bit. So Chief Cali, he been speaking on us for a minute. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And it's been in a very distasteful manner. Um, but for the most part, we can kind of predict that, right? He's very offended as far as us speaking on it, because he says this is his experience. But I've specified before a couple of times, it is his experience that has highlighted accusations on to Kevin Wesley, right? And so
Absolutely.
when we're trying to seek possible vindication for brother Kevin, it's kind of hard to avoid the topic of Chief Cali, because most of these accusations came from his words. We don't have any documents to reference to. We don't have too many other people to reference to. We have a couple today. We have a couple of people as far as the donation accusations. But, when it comes to the shroom ceremony, the gay accusations, and when it comes to, for the most part, the most recent added accusations of sexual or tickling. Okay, so I'll say quote unquote just tickling the girl, right? Because a lot of people was getting very offended because I referenced it as sexual, which is still, I haven't changed my mind about that. It's still sexual, right? um
Absolutely.
but he stated in one of his live discussions that he never said it, but in one of his recent rants, he stated, well, if you're mad at me for getting the name wrong, then I could be mad at Kevin for basically saying that his stomach hurt when he said that he got his stomach removed. So now that's the new argument. And I think that it makes no sense at all in comparison. Just my observation, not looking for anyone to be offended. If you are offended, I can't really avoid this. You get what I'm saying? And I'm not here to cater to so many emotions that are beyond my control. I am only trying to present information and give my observation to help spread some type of insight to lead to an opening and a possibility for people to see how Kevin may not be guilty of any of these things. I honestly feel like he's not guilty of any of them. A lot of my evidence and observation has given a lot of light on that. If anybody wants to give an opportunity to listen to that, that is all that I ask for. To keep up the emotions and to be called a bitch, a bum bitch, a pick Misha, to speak on characteristics, to identify all of these childish things. To me, it's a deflection from the point. If you're bringing up accusations and you want these things to be clarified, if you want justice for these accusations, there's no need to be offended if somebody is actually considering to look into the information, right?
Absolutely. And for, like you said, you to provide this information and it's put out here. If someone wants to do further investigation, there you should not be offended. Yes, this was your experience and these are the things you said and the accusations you put out there. I don't have to agree with you. But to be made into a joke or called out of your name, it should never have reached that level. And you're supposed to be a chief, a leader in your community, but you're emotionally driven. You're emotionally driven by everything that's going on with you against Mr. Kevin Wesley. And you are a grown man, you are a father, you are a husband, as well as going not too far into your 50s. You will be there soon. And for you to carry on and act the way you do over people dissecting the videos that you put out and giving their own personal opinion and observation, just like the people have from your side as well. It should not have gone to this level of disrespect. I don't have to agree with you, but I don't have to be your enemy as well.
Most definitely. It's been a lot of people actually believing these accusations for years on Brother Kevin Wesley. The numbers of anybody speaking differently or contrary to these accusations, um, to me, have not been that strong, if any, and most of them have been happening within the recent last couple, I want to say a year and a half, with the content creators that's been in defense for Brother Kevin with the saga of Brother LaTruth. So, and a lot of the they've been getting a lot of backlash. Ashley has been one of them. It's a lot of content creators who have been mistreated in defense of Brother Kevin. Me starting my platform was everything that Brother Kevin has been accused of. You get what I'm saying? And so Ashley D has been in support and like really, helping, with getting these vindications. You get what I'm saying? And so it seems like to me that when people are speaking up in defense of Brother Kevin, they're automatically shunned or attacked. You get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because I did not attack Chief Cali. He is a man. I would not attack Chief Cali. He is a man. You get what I'm saying? I did not call him out of his name. I did not portray him in a certain light, and I still haven't. And more than likely I probably won't, because what I want to practice now and furthermore is to make it a new reality for everyone on social media. Even if we disagree, we do not have to destroy each other. You get what I'm saying? Because as a whole of the Black community, it doesn't necessarily bring a great lighting on us when it seems like we're always attacking each other. It's okay to disagree. It's okay to not believe something. It's okay to not like Kevin. But to me personally, I feel like a lot of people have a dislike for Kevin, and they're using that as a passion to believe something before they actually consider that those things may not be true. It's emotionally driven. And a lot of it, to me, it does not make any sense. Chief Cali has stated that a lot of these things were thoughts in his head. Okay, if they're thoughts in your head and they did not actually have any physical evidence within the realm of reality, then how are we trying to judge or demonize a man based on that? There's no logic in that at all whatsoever. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So today, um, I was looking at Chief Callie's live, a couple of his lives most recently, and he stated among a lot of things, he stated that his major concern that he ever had with Brother Kevin was that he was privately recorded, and that he had concerns as to what happened to everyone's donation money. And that's been brought up a lot. I have not necessarily spoken on that topic. So that's what we're doing today. His Kevin two ex-girlfriends have also discussed these things. Shy and Tigress are their names, and they've discussed it about the donations. And so I have a clip it video that we're going to go over. We're going to give some insight on this, and hopefully we can come to a closing with this accusation as well. You get what I'm saying? I will not deter from the point, and the point is the vindication of Kevin Wesley. I have observed all information clearly because I'm bringing the information of the parties that are against Kevin to the forefront. I am giving observation with the people so that everyone can see or understand, or if they have questions, I have been welcome to those questions. I answer to the best of my ability. Those questions that I did not answer, I have not forgotten them. They are definitely still on, and they're definitely noted. They will get answered. Okay. Did you want to say something, Sister Ashley, while I get the video ready?
You hit everything right on the nose. And like you said, it shouldn't have went this far based off of a man publicly stating that this was something he saw in the mirror. So it wasn't in the physical. He didn't see it with his eyes. He had a feeling. So if we all was to say everything that we have a feeling about is our reality and we will react on those things, we will be wrong a lot. A lot of people will be accused of so many other accusations that would have been proven to be false. A lot of people are in prison based off of people having a feeling. This man has been slandered based off of this man having a feeling, being emotionally driven, being an emotional terrorizer. And then to add insult to injury, added on two of his exes that clearly had a motive, that were clearly upset, that were clearly hurt over this relationship that was over, that wasn't even a relationship, this breakup that took place that no longer served its purpose. Instead of walking away as a woman, instead of walking away with pride, dignity, they decide to jump on a bandwagon with an ex-best friend of someone that you can clearly see with your own eyes that has a motive, an agenda, that is too immature emotionally to understand his feelings, to be able to express those feelings as a man without taking jabs and blows at another man's sexuality. And that should not only offend anyone that maybe decides to like women that is a woman or like a man that is a man. He's downing someone else out here sexuality just to slander this man that clearly is a straight man. So when you throw all of this in a mix, that's where Angie as well as myself come in. This never was a bashing, smearing campaign. It was just us defending someone who we clearly see for ourselves is an innocent man of these accusations that has not been yet proven to this day. So when we went in on Chief Callie, somebody that's a leader of the community that has continuously slandered someone that was their ex-best friend, and then decided to attack us as women, to silence us because we have an opinion, then that's when we decided to step outside for a moment and let him know what that felt like. I did not think it was okay to post our pictures on the community. I did not think it was okay for him to call us all out of our names. But at the end of the day, we have to understand what level of thinking that this man is at, and what is he trying to do, and what is his motive clearly. So when we
Yes.
get the bigger picture overall of who he is, then we know what we're dealing with.
Yes, and with that, sis, I have a question for anybody who listens to this video. Kevin has been accused of accusations. My question to everyone: who brought the information? Who did anybody that's listening? How did you find out about this information? Ask yourself this. How did you find out about this information? Who said it? Who told you about it? Who was the one that brought it up? And then ask yourself, when it comes to clearing Kevin's name or Kevin clearing his own name, how is he supposed to do that without referencing the information or the people that brung the information? How is that to happen? Because the main goal is to not be offensive, right? So then I would, if I'm trying to not be offensive, but I'm trying to discuss these accusations, how do I possibly go about this without bringing up anyone's name so that they will not feel attacked? If we don't have any documents, if we don't have any recordings or records, papers, or anything to go by, the only thing we have is the vocalization of people speaking about this. How can I vindicate him without acknowledging the people that spoke it? And that is the question. So when we have this question, when we think about it in our minds, we have to come to an understanding that there is no way to avoid that. And so when you see someone that is taking offense to you speaking of these accusations that they brought to light, and you have no other resource to reference it from, why are they offended? If you want him to have possible, judgment for his actions, if you want people to see what he has done, even if they are in the moment of disagreement, why are we offended? You want it to come to light. You brought it to the table. We're discussing it. So the offense is not necessary. And if there is any offense, it only leaves me to feel as if someone may be wrong or guilty of causing someone injustice. That's how I would feel. That is my observation. Am I going to take that out on Brother Callie? No, not in this moment. I don't feel that there's a but there needs to be an understanding that your reaction to this situation is a red flag, if that makes any sense. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And so if anybody feels as if we're bashing or we're hating or anything in that such, then we have to ask, are they actually considering or listening to the information? Because Kevin has been trying to clear his name for years, and the only thing that we have heard is, oh, he's talking about them, or he's crying, or he's being emotional, or he talks on for hours about this. And it's kind of like, so you're not considering what he's saying, you're only believing what was told about him. And is that necessarily fair? And I know a lot of people don't see that as fair, but they don't care. But I do care. I'll continue to care, because if he is innocent of things, then he should not be charged of them by the public view. Okay?
Absolutely.
So what we have today is we have this video. The person that you see on the screen, his name is Josh. He's also going to give an introduction of who he is. We're going to give a review and an observation. Ashley, if you want me to stop, you can most definitely let me know. We'll give a lot of explanation to the other parties that aren't in this video as well. And this will give further insight as far as the accusations of the donations that everybody has a question about, okay?
Okay.
I am the co-founder of Be The Evolution. As many of you know, I made a long post on I
All
am the
right.
co-founder of Be the Evolution.
I wanted to stop it just right there. This is Josh. He is the co-founder of Be the Evolution. Does anybody know what that means? That means that he is 50-50 owner. That means he had rights to this business, right? They had a fair share, co-founder. So all of these accusations as far as donations have been on the back of brother Kevin. But where are the concerns with Josh?
So they both was part owners of this charity.
Most definitely. Now you're getting it. Where
Mm-hmm.
everybody's pointing fingers at Kevin, I have yet to see people try to figure out where Josh is, especially since this has happened around a certain time that everybody has a concern of, right?
Right.
And
And you
not
hear it
only
out of Josh's mouth for himself that he says he's partially owner of this.
there you have it, sis. And not only that, but Tigress, one of Kevin's exes, has admitted to being a part of this situation as far as being in control of accounts. But we'll elaborate on that as well. I just want to highlight to everyone, since people cannot notice, that there was a co-owner. So if we got questions for one, we need questions for both. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
As many of you know, I made a long post on my full resume, you could call it, but I can't really show it to an employer. Nobody be like, who the fuck is, you know? Anyways, maintenance man, engineer.
See how he downplayed his own business. Cause what is Be the Evolution? It was your business. It was an entrepreneurship. Okay. All right, but we'll continue.
This you'll see the resume. I would highly suggest, if you haven't before listening to this audio, to go to my original post, read it in full. Don't be late.
Now look at this. I want everybody to look at this. He has this post right here on his page. What happened to feeding the homeless? You collect donations while living in a mansion like pastors do, or you get what I'm saying? But he is the co-founder. So why is he asking Kevin these questions and not asking himself? Is everybody understanding what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that would lead someone to understand that, are we doing this for a malicious purpose? That would be my observation, especially when you have taken acknowledgement that you were co-founder of this business.
And he would know as well, not just Kevin, but this is your business too. So
Right,
you have access to that information as well. But you're
right,
solely putting it on Kevin back. Like he
right,
has control over everything.
right. But he's gonna highlight how much control he has had in this video. You guys stay tuned.
Lazy, it's important for context. I'm not gonna waste too much of your time. I don't like being on camera. It's weird. What is this? What is that? See what I'm saying? I don't like being on camera. Anyways, I will be at the end of this so you can get my thoughts of what we all heard. Even now, I have people asking me if the things Kevin said about me were true as far as me stealing from him. That's interesting. Anyways, I'm going to let the audio play itself. It's just a conversation between him and I. I'm going to let you guys decide. You, the people, you, the community that has supported him, us at one time. By the way, hi, Kevin.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi, nice that you unblocked me. I don't know why you blocked me initially, because I never said anything against you until you lied about me. I pretty much faded away and didn't say anything.
He's downplaying what he's done wrong, you guys. Okay. I want everybody to understand that. You want to know why Kevin blocked you? Because you never said anything. It's not about what you said. And I'm going to highlight some more of that as we continue. But I want you guys to see how he is downplaying this situation and somehow still not taking accountability for his part in everything that has taken place and the things that Kevin has been having to deal with on his own.
And I also want to highlight something as well, sis, about him saying he doesn't want to be on camera. It could be one or two reasons: his guilt, his shame, doesn't want him to, will not allow him to be on camera to face the music of the things he's done and the part he has played behind the scene. Or two,
Boom.
he just doesn't want to be on camera, and he was okay with Kevin being the face of this business because he shies away from the camera. He was
Right.
okay with that. But now he's playing it as though he didn't have so much part in it, when clearly he was okay with this before it took place. He agreed to all of this.
Right. There you got it, sis.
Block me. It's just kind of fucked up, bro. Anyways, let's get to the audio.
So let's start here. I want to rewind and clarify. So the word specifically used was "I stole money from you," and I know you've said this before when the money wasn't there. Now, when the initial incident happened,
I want everybody to listen to read this. I did not add any funny images, clips, or commentary to this as to not sway opinions. He already had a funny clip, remember? Not and he also had funny commentary, which he's going to continue to do as we continue to sway opinions. So let's not be manipulated, okay?
between you and I, it was don't worry about it. He was like, I think it was just like, don't worry. I said I'll pay you back, but he was like, oh man, it's cool. Don't worry about it. Obviously, you wanted me to pay you back at that. I mean, when I'm talking about when it first happened, not like when I actually had the job and everything. Like when it first happened, you were like, it's cool. You know, don't even worry about it. And then, you know, what later, it was
what they're identifying right now, and they're going to specify it, is that Josh, he had control over the accounts. So any donations that were given to this company, Josh was the handler. It went to his account. And what he did was he misused that money. But the donations at that time was for Kevin's tube feeding. Now, I already specified that I did the calculations that on average, tube feeding requires about $35 to $40 a day, which is over $1,000 a month. Okay? I want everybody to understand that as we continue.
it was a problem again. It was, oh, you not paying me back even though you said you were, blah blah blah. And I was like, well, I mean, if we look at the whole spectrum of what I've done, $1,200 isn't anything. Like as far as that, if we just like put.
So now he's trying to downplay because what they received in those donations that he's stating was $1,200. But he's trying to downplay how it wasn't that big of a deal, but it was. Because when a man is trying to survive off of nutrients and the people were donating specifically for that to happen, for him to get his nutrients, you took that money. And you said that it wasn't a big deal because of whatever reasons, as you being a co-owner of this company. And okay, let me give you guys some clarity when it comes to starting a business, or even whether you have a business partner or not. When you are running a business, you most of the time you begin with investing your own money. You don't necessarily make money in return. And sometimes whenever you do make money, it takes a while. And then even if it does happen sooner than later, it's still a certain amount that you will still receive. You get what I'm saying? But you're going to continue, especially in the startup of a business, you're going to continue to invest your own money. Is everybody getting what I'm saying? So he feels as if he was owed something and Kevin didn't give it to him. But him and Kevin are co-founders. They did it together. So they both were sacrificing. But Kevin had to endure surgeries where one instance his stomach was removed. And then he had to go back for another surgery. You get what I'm saying? And in order for your co-founder to live and actually survive, he would need the nutrients required. And you stole that money. And you want to be argumentative about him specifying that it was stole and not taken. the terms seriously. But let's continue.
Put that as water under the bridge. As far as I put all the work and time I did for you was water under the bridge. I think that's a hell of a steal. I'm not even going to say it's fair. I'm going to say that's a hell of a steal for everything, that I've contributed towards you and your
No, and
movement.
and if we
And even in this statement, he's saying everything that I have done for you. But it was him in the beginning of this video that stated that he was a co-founder. So you weren't necessarily doing it for Kevin. You were doing it for you as well. Everybody catching what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. And the fact in the beginning,
Go ahead,
sorry,
sis.
in the beginning, Kevin said he doesn't have to pay him back, to only turn around not even a few minutes later and say that Kevin wants the money back. And then it was only $1,200. Regardless of what it was, those were donations sent specifically for the reason of tube food. And you took that. So whether you two were in business together in the work that you put in, that money was for a specific reason. And it was not for you. It wasn't even for the business at that time. It was for that type of food that Mr. Wesley needed
There we
from
have
his
it.
stomach.
Yes.
Exactly.
You dead on, sis. I appreciate it.
You dead on.
said that, I agree. Yeah, absolutely. If you had been paid per the hour or for what you did, even just by job, you would have made a whole lot more than $1,200. My point was, Josh, that money is for my food. Like, I don't have the money. Like, it's not like.
And even in this instance, I know I'm breaking up a lot, but even in this instance, Kevin is agreeing. You have done great work. I understand that. He's not even saying, are you hearing yourself? You're the co-founder. We're both sacrificing. The only thing that I'm asking for is the tube food. Okay. But see, Shy, which is one of Kevin's ex-girlfriend, she stated in her testimony, I don't know what happened to y'all donations, but I got flued out. Well, Josh was in control of the money. Josh didn't give him the money. How did you get flued out?
I agree.
So that was the conversation.
And that's why you got your money back. And that's why I paid you back.
Right.
So.
Right, of course.
Okay.
Now he's going to explain how he paid Kevin back. I want everybody to pay attention to that because he's admitting that he did pay Kevin back. And we're not going to ignore that factor, but we're going to consider how Kevin was paid back so everyone can understand, right?
Right.
So I paid you back. And then, when we had that phone call, like I said, I would have vividly remembered, because again, you're saying it's for food. I get it. You would have never, again, if you would have threatened my life, you wouldn't have got the money back. Now,
I didn't threaten your life.
I guess you just was gonna beat my ass and just walk away.
He's offended because Kevin was upset enough to say, I would beat your ass. But at the end of the day, you stole his nutrients money. As a business partner, you stole from your partner. And not only that, but he suffered because of it. Because what he needed was nutrients in order to continue his part in the business. And you made that harder for him selfishly because you thought that you were in more deserving of what you received, of what he was receiving instead. Is that making sense to everyone? Nobody in this factor has considered that Kevin does not have a stomach. In fact, they've went on to question whether he had his stomach removed or not because he would reference his abdominal area being in pain by saying that his stomach was hurt. Can anybody see the ignorance in that? Am I the only one?
No.
Go ahead. That's kind of
my threat. Like, I didn't know what to say at that moment. I was just mad. So
like I said,
there was nothing I could do to get you to pay me. You felt like you shouldn't have to pay me, and so I just got mad and yelled the first thing on my mind. And like I said, even I wouldn't have been capable of doing the threat that I said. It was just I was mad. That's what came out of me.
Okay. Hold on a second. So, like you said, it's like, don't even worry about it. Didn't even happen. I put it behind me, and then I paid you back. I want to say within like 3 months. I paid you back $1,200. That's like $200. a month, I want to say, or I think it was like 200 a month, and I gave you like 500 at the end or something. It was like a big chunk at the end.
Now, I just stated that he would require, in order for him to have his full nutrients from these tube feedings for an entire month, to be $1,000, over $1,000, right? He requested donations from his followers and subscribers, and he received 1,200, which could have properly given him the nutrients within a month. And Josh took that money, and in turn, he paid him back 200 each month until the last final month, which was still less than $1,000. So you know what happens behind that? Let's just consider what Kevin had to go through. He had less nutrients, $200. Everybody do the math. How long would that have lasted him? So he had to try to find another route to continue his nutrients, or he had to just deal with what he was receiving. Now, is that fair?
Yes. On top of him thinking that this was okay. I'm sure you took it out in full, but you're upset during this phone call that you had to pay someone back the money that you stole, that you had no right to do so when it came to the donations that was given to Kevin for this reason. Then you broke it down to, like you said, it was such a little amount.
Exactly. So how you're expecting Kevin to manage off of that, off of $200 for a couple of months, and then the last big chunk at the end, he had to suffer 2 months with $200 each for his nutrients specifically. So I'm a highlight this for anybody who's not connecting. It is not Kevin who scammed the people. It is Josh. Kevin requested donations for his tube feeding. It was Josh that took it because he felt entitled to a payment for his work in his company before Kevin would receive feeding and nutrients that he honestly asked his subscribers for in the first place.
Facts. And for him to get upset about that, it just blows my mind, and thinking about the condition Kevin was in. And yes, any normal person would be upset when it comes to their life. His life depended on getting his nutrients. His life depended on those donations at this time. He just started this business. So this man had access to knowing what was in those accounts. And like you stated, sis, in the beginning of the business, any business, when you're starting one, you're putting more of your investments in than you get in return. You can expect a return down the line. But so early on, and then you said Kevin threatened you. Kevin is a man first. You threatened his life. And he wasn't even in a condition, if he did threaten you, to act on those actions he felt in the moment. He was sick. So he couldn't have physically put his hands on you. He was upset. And when we're all upset in the heat of the moment, we say things sometimes. And by him saying this, it allowed this man to take it serious and start sending money that was still not enough for his feeding through a tube.
Right. And he's downplaying the entire situation as if Kevin was not the one that suffered, and as if the people were not the ones that were robbed.
Facts. Or Kevin wasn't the victim.
Exactly. And everybody has been treating Kevin as if he has been the one wrong, when Kevin had no access to these accounts. They were all under Josh. Josh, the co-founder, the one that stated he was the co-founder. So if anybody needs to be mad, it is Josh's face that needs to be plastered all over the internet.
And if anybody wondering where those donations went, they need to holler at Josh. But yet they're going to Kevin. But clearly Josh states who he was, and he lets us all know for the record that he took the money. He had access to the money. So Josh needs to be the one in question. Not
Thank
Kevin.
you. This video, he admitted to taking the money. If anybody who does not understand what's going on, Josh took the donation money. Josh did. Let's see.
While Kevin was sick.
Exactly, sis.
So we fast forward, and now they're aware of the situation. So I know that was discussed, even though you said we're cool and it was water under the bridge, whatever, as far as that whole incident. So I know they're aware of the situation happening. So, and then for some reason, it sounds like you tripled the amount that was owed. And again, I'm hearing
he is upset with Kevin because of an exaggeration. There was a possible exaggeration, but not once did he deny that he was the one that took the money. He admitted it. So let's not get distracted by exaggeration, because it's a lot of people out here exaggerating specifically about this situation, and they clearly know what is going on. But we'll continue.
that you wanted to beat my ass, or you threatened to beat my. I wasn't going to give it back, but then you threatened to beat my ass, and then that's what did it. That's what I guess I cowered under pressure of an ass whooping, and I paid you back $3,000 something $100. So how do we go from $1,200 to like $3,000 something $100? Because I know you wouldn't have. I really don't believe you would have like forgot a number that drastic. Now if it was around 1,800 instead of 1,200, or if we're in the one,
he's more so embarrassed. Okay, he's more so embarrassed of a possible statement that he had to pay Kevin back because he was scared, and the amount of it was about 300 or 3,000 or something in that lighting. Either way, Josh has stated that it was $1,200. He took the money. Kevin was clearly upset. He stated that he would have whipped Josh's ass if he could, because he was suffering from lack of nutrients. Is that Josh is not connecting that in his mindset. The only thing that Josh is connecting is being embarrassed when he shouldn't have stole it in the first place.
Thanks.
I understand it because that makes sense. Like the thousands, like 2,000 is even like that's kind of weird. But 3,000, that to me signifies you're looking to be drastic and like some kind of like I really did something, or I don't know. It seems like you're trying to pull more out of it than actually happened.
To be honest with you, it probably felt like 3,000. He had to suffer for 3 months strong trying to make up for the loss so he can receive his tube feeding. So him exaggerating or whatever it is to get it off of his chest, I feel like it was justified, because whipping your ass would have been more necessary if you ask me. But I'm not, you know what I'm saying? The man was suffering. He had no stomach. He just had surgery. They took his entire stomach, you guys, from him having preventative cancer. You get what I'm saying? He had ulcers in his stomach. Does anybody remember that he stated that?
And it probably took him longer to heal, sis, due to lack of nutrients, due to not being able to receive these funds right away. That would have helped his process of healing faster, a lot longer. So it was stretched out longer. So you think about this, if it went to small claims court, they would have paid him for pain and suffering as well.
Exactly.
If it was able to go there.
So Kevin has been technically saving everybody, especially the ones who felt like Kevin was supposed to be. Kevin owes them. How does Kevin owe you anything when he's the one that's been suffering?
Thanks. Yes.
So I don't believe it was like
let's look at the scenario, bro.
Go ahead.
I got a woman on the phone with me asking me why I don't share her shit, why I don't get closer to her, why I don't tell people to invest in her shit, give them their money. I'm trying to explain to her. I haven't known her long enough to do anything like that, and I'm not going to do that. Okay? I told her. Me and Josh, we work together every day. Like, I knew this nigga with everything in me. And when he needed that money, he got that money. Now, he didn't do it maliciously. I made this clear. You thought that I was about to give me a big old donation, and I would have never needed that shit. That's a fact.
Did you hear that? He thought that he was going to get a bigger donation. So Josh and Kevin are stating that they thought that it was going to be a bigger donation according to Josh, and that Kevin would not have missed the $1,200, but they did not receive anything more. That was it, you guys. That was literally it. But the donations were specifically for Kevin's tube feeding, and Josh knew that.
But it didn't happen. And so now I need this money. Whenever I came to you for it, it was a shock to you too. We both thought he was about to do all this shit. He didn't. So again, and what I told you was, if you don't pay me back, you did steal that shit. Like that's a steal because you didn't pay it back. You know. Now when I'm talking to her, yeah, I may have said he stole. I may have used the word stole. I don't know. But me,
Kevin, you ain't got to play in favor to nobody's feelings no more. That's what he did. He stole from you. He stole from y'all business. He stole from himself. He lost trust. It takes two. In a relationship, think about it, sis. If you're in a relationship with somebody and y'all together and y'all combine you guys money, but one person is in control, you're not even in control. You're trusting your partner. Right. And then you guys live together and you're expecting your partner to pay the rent, but all of a sudden you're getting evicted and you never knew why. And to find out that he felt more deserving of the money and spent it on what he needed or what he felt like it was useful for. And now you guys are facing eviction because of it.
Facts.
Does that seem fair?
Facts. Absolutely.
It's like, come on, we were in this together. You knew that I needed this specifically for this. Now, if you wanted to ask the people, because you're the co-founder, to possibly start a donation to help give you a little bit of payment, because I understand you're making sacrifice, then we could have done that. We could have been honest to our following. But you lied to them and you lied to me. And Kevin is still trying to be reasonable about it, and he doesn't even have to be. But everybody's trying to deem him as such a bad guy.
The amount, that shit wasn't important to me. All I know is that that's what the GoFundMe was, or around about that much whenever I saw it. He called me last night and said, what was the amount? Or asked me about the $3,000. I told him, I sent him the screenshot as well. I went back and counted it. It's definitely $1,200 or something. But $3,000, me going from $3,000 to going from $12,000 to $3,000, that was not an appeal to try to stretch things or make things dramatic. It wouldn't have mattered if it was $500. My whole point to her was,
even in the moment of Kevin being reasonable, he still found time to mock Kevin as if he didn't do anything wrong.
I'm not doing that. It wasn't about the amount. It was just saying Josh took the money out of the account. And I told them you paid the shit back. Like, I don't understand. And you have to think, why are they coming to you? Is she trying to start some shit? What's the reason that she came to you? She could have took that shit as an answer and just said, okay, cool. Okay, I understand why you the way you are then. Because none of this shit is really here. Like, bro, at the end of the day, you went into an account and took money out. I'm not saying that don't make me wrong for telling her this shit. I do feel wrong. Like, I do feel wrong even though I didn't tell her that.
Kevin feels bad for telling people that Josh stole from him. Isn't that crazy? That's insane to Kevin. You had every right to express what had happened to anyone.
To try to hurt you. That wasn't my point. That wasn't my reason. My reason for telling her that was to be honest and sincere with a team member that's really trying to move forward with me. This is why I am the way I am. I'm not sharing none of y'all stuff like that. Like, y'all could rock with me. We could be a crew together, but I'm not letting nobody as close to me as Josh was. That's exactly what it is. Nobody's gonna get like, like, man, you had all my money. You sent the money to me every month. Like, I trusted you with everything. I'm not doing that shit no more. Because it can come back to haunt me, especially if I'm telling somebody to deposit money in her account. Nah, I'm not doing that.
The money came into my account, right? You remember?
No,
that,
I'm
right?
saying
That's literally what Kevin was saying. But thank you for highlighting that, Josh, that the money came into your account. You had access to this money. You stole the money. You are the one that everyone needs to be looking at. But instead, they're looking at Kevin.
No, of course. That's what I'm saying. I trusted you with everything. What I'm saying is...
The reason I asked is you said I went into the account. Like, your account was with my account. Like, my money was with your money, like, in the midst of each other. Like, so
okay,
I don't...
All I know is that, when you go on the GoFundMe, it shows you an amount. And when I went to take the money out of the GoFundMe or whatever, or get you to send me the GoFundMe, you said you didn't have it. That you had used it for something.
Right.
As a matter of fact, no. As a matter of fact, it was a portion of it left that you sent me what you could, but because you didn't have the rest of it or whatever.
Correct.
And I was like,
yeah. I was intending to have a job
can
at
you
that
pause
time
it
when I
for a
got laid
second,
off, and I
sis?
didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I clearly want to highlight the fact that when this man stole the money from Kevin, he had to publicly come forward and ask the people for money again immediately. So he can have money for the month for the tube to feed, not to mention that it cost $300 for each case. And he ended up needing 4 cases a month. So imagine $200, not even for one. It was $300 each. And he needed 4 cases. On top of this man, I want to highlight this. This man stole from a GoFundMe that the community supported Kevin for this tube feeding purpose only. He stole from a GoFundMe for Kevin from the community. And all these people are asking, all the people, all the exes, no one has made a video addressing Sean, but they are addressing Kevin that did not have access to this GoFundMe that the community provided for Kevin for what he was going through. But they making video after video asking Kevin for the money. Make that make sense, people.
Exactly.
This was a GoFundMe account. It wasn't a business account. This GoFundMe was made for Kevin for the tube feeding purpose only. And each tube feeding was $300. $300. And he needed 4 cases a month. Josh provided provided $200 for this man a month. So he ended up short either way it go. He couldn't even pay for 1 case. He had to add an extra 100 to just one alone. And after he did this, Kevin had to come forward and ask everyone for donations again because he really needed it. And it took him longer to heal because of that. So imagine you're fighting for your life. A GoFundMe is made specifically for this purpose only. And then this man you trust, this man who feels entitled to your money, this man that is your business partner, this man over anybody else that you're close to, you allowed access to a GoFundMe that was made just for that. And he decides that he's entitled to that, to spend it any way he pleases, not thinking about, how serious you needed this food and how your life depended on it. He thought he was entitled to this because he was your business partner, when this had absolutely nothing to do with that. This was about your life. This was about what the community was donating this money for. This was the reason for this. Not anything to do with this business or this charity that you and him had together. This was separate, but he still felt entitled to that. Make it make sense.
Exactly. Thank you for coming in, Texas. I don't know how much that you've gotten to see, but this here is the This is the admittance of Kevin's co-founder of the business when this first started. And he is the one who had access to all of the accounts and even the fundraiser where everyone's donations went. As far as Kevin needing tube feeding and needing the tube food, Kevin went public. He asked for donations. It was Josh who had control over the money. And in this video, Josh admitted that he took the money, because everybody is asking what happened to the money. But Josh is the one that took the money, and the ones around at that time had known that already. But they're stating that they don't know, but they did know. Remember in Shy's interview, she stated she was getting flued out, which in Kevin's defense, Kevin said that it was her that paid for her ticket. And in this statement right here with Josh has admitted that he took the money. And
from
then
a GoFundMe, sis, please point that out. That's the crazy part.
From the GoFundMe for the donations for Kevin's tube feeding. Now, yesterday, Dawn, who is Kevin's older sister, she did a live. I don't know if everybody saw it, but she did a live yesterday to give further information on their on the genetic cancer that they have, that their mother passed away from. They had an older sister that passed away from it. Their brother LaTruth, he suffered stage 1 cancer and had to get his stomach removed. Dawn, she suffered stage 1 cancer and had to get her stomach removed. Their children will have to get tested for this genetic information to see if they would possibly have to get their stomach removed. It's a stomach cancer. I know that Chief Cali went live a couple of days ago, and he was showing the videos of Kevin in the hospital with actual tubes coming from his stomach, but he was saying that it was possible for weight loss surgery. And that's not the case, because if you look at any of Kevin's older pictures, you will see that Kevin was not far obese to where doctors would even approve that type of surgery. Okay, so we have to start looking at things in a more realistic view. And this guy right here in the beginning, and I'll play it back for you, Sister Texas, because I know you've been following this story. So I want to play it back for you so that you can hear. He stated that he was the co-founder, and he stated that he had control of the funding and the money that was coming in. He stated that he took this money, and he stated that he paid Kevin back in payments, which was not even a sufficient amount for him to even receive his food, his tubing. So he still had to come back to the people and ask for more donations in order to receive that funding, because Josh had taken the money and did not pay him back in whole.
On top of that, sis, where is the outrage in the community? They have stole from a leader at this time who needed that food, right? But the outrage is against Kevin, who was in the hospital, who had no access to this GoFundMe. The GoFundMe was the purpose only of Kevin and his tube feeding. But somehow his business partner, a separate account, thought he was entitled to the money that the community gave for this specific reason only. And now we're at this point now, and all the exes and everyone else is making videos and slandering Kevin. Somebody at the time that was in the hospital that had to make another video because he needed this food, because Josh thought it was okay for him to take the money that had no purpose whatsoever towards their business, had nothing to do with that, from the people. They should be upset with Josh and asking him why. But instead, it falls on Kevin, the victim, who laid in a hospital with a bill of $1,200 a month for tube feeding. And Josh only gave $200 a month. And he needed 4 cases a month of tube feeding. 4 cases. Nowhere near the amount that would have helped Kevin.
And the thing is, with Kevin's stomach, he had ulcers in his stomach. They weren't able to determine any to see if he had already, or if it was possible of him being in stage 1 cancer or anything in the sort because of the ulcers. So they automatically went ahead with preventative surgery and removed his stomach. And that is what has happened. And then he had to go to surgery again because I think he had situations with his bowels, and it wasn't receiving well. You get what I'm saying? And he also explains how he had to stretch, I want to say his is it esophagus or is something in that lighting, where he had to stretch it with regular food and still receive tube food to receive his nutrients, but he was stretching that organ in order for it to be the form of his stomach, because his original stomach was removed. So when he's saying that his stomach hurts, he's referring to his abdomen area. I don't think that he should have to specify a specific organ when everybody understands that the abdominal area in the stomach is a reference to where he is having pain. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Right. There you go, Texas mama. And it saddens me. It really saddens me that, you know, we have this situation that's going on with the man that had to endure so many health complications. And then, you know, it's not once have we been in a moment to actually consider, you know, that could have been a lot. That could have been, I mean, the suffrage, you know what I'm saying? And then to say, well, what happened to the money? But everybody that's brung out these accusations, they knew what happened to the money. They knew what
Mm-hmm.
happened to the money. They all were around at the same time.
Exactly.
Chief Cali was his cameraman. Chief Cali was being paid for his job. He was doing videos. He was not he was not a co-founder of this business, even though in a lot of his videos before him and Kevin fell out, he would reference that he was a partner with Kevin. And most of the time when he would go to those events, those were Kevin's events, and he was filming it. He was doing a service.
As
Shy,
well as free mentorship, sis. Don't forget that.
and he
Kevin
did
gave
free
Callie free
mentorship.
mentorship.
Yes, he gave him free mentorship. And then we have Shy, who was dating Kevin, and she knew that he had to have tube food. So there should it if in Callie's recent video, he was questioning whether, you know, he actually had this stomach process, surgery process. But in Shy's interview, she admitted, you know, that he did have to have tube food, but she wanted to say that he was eating whole food. But he was getting to a process to be able to eat whole food. Let's think about it, you guys. Even if he doesn't have his stomach, how do we expect him to eat for the rest of his life?
Right.
How do we expect him to eat and go on with a normal life without eating solid food?
How could we expect him to heal properly, sis, with the wear and tear? And just think about his mental state. He's in the hospital getting his stomach removed, and he has donations, and he's trusting someone that is his business partner to do the right thing. So when he finally needs his donations,
Right.
someone takes that from him. So now he has to publicly come forward and ask again.
And the reason why he had a certain amount on that GoFundMe, I think at that time with Tigress, where she started to become in control of a lot of the accounts and things in that sort, she had a set amount for 10,000. And her reasoning was, if you aim high, you get what I'm saying? She in so many words, because I can't say it per se. I don't remember it at the time in this moment. But if you aim high, you'll receive a high amount in so many words. So she had gained control of these accounts at I think around the same time or a little bit after Josh. So these two parties who had control over these accounts, and Kevin did not have access to these accounts, they are trying to state what happened to the donations. How? When it was in Tigress's interview, along with Shy, she stated, I had access to his PayPal. I had access to all of this. I had this and I had that. Well, if you had all of these things, then how are we allowing the question of what happened to the money and not taking accountability that you had access to these things, that you knew where these things were going? Josh admitted that he had access to this information. And even in this conversation that they had together, Kevin did not have access. So
Absolutely.
if we're going to be upset with anybody about what happened to the people's donations, the last person we should be upset with is the one that did not have access or control of any of these accounts.
Facts. And on top of that, we have Josh here acting like he's frustrated and he's upset with Kevin because he has to pay the money back. Like he's such a good guy and he's doing the right thing. You're doing what you're supposed to do on top of you doing the bare minimum. So how are you sitting here upset with a man that's in a hospital that needs his money that was funded to him for the purpose, the reasoning behind him being in the hospital? And you're frustrated that you have to pay this money back. How dare you? You cannot make this stuff up.
Right.
And ever since then, the answers has been falling upon Kevin. The videos have been made to slander Kevin to make him seem like he's such a bad guy. He's ripped the community off. When everything and the evidence speaks for itself. Josh paid the money back because he was supposed to, because he stole from a GoFundMe that was not for any purpose only, but the purpose of Kevin Wesley tube food. Not to mention, had he paid the $1,200 off tops, it would have at least allowed Kevin to heal properly. It would have at least allowed those 4 months, that 1 month of the $1,200 to be able to be fed and Kevin healing properly to where he didn't have to come back to the public so fast and ask for this money that they probably was wondering where the money went to. But he could have just got on camera and said, Josh ripped me off. But he played it cool and he felt upset in the moment and he had every right to because his life depended on it. And now he's being victimized when he clearly was the victim for all this evidence that has been presented.
And what I think I want to do is, Miss Texas Mama, if you still here, just put a 1 in the chat and I'll play it back for you if you want me to, so that you can see the introduction for Brother Josh, or unless you just want to play back the video when we finish, and that's cool because I know that you've been following the story and you came in a little bit later. Okay, I can play it back for you, Mama. I'll just remember my mark at 8:40.
Okay. And I have one more question, sis, before we get done.
We
have to ask ourselves this question. Why would Kevin give Tigress access to the account, right? If he planned on scamming, how could he scam without these people knowing if they had access to the account?
Right.
And Josh, not to mention, since Josh was an expert with the computers in the program. Right. So that's one of the reasons Josh was hired. Josh was on board. And we all know in the beginning, Kevin said he was not computer savvy. He was just starting off. So everybody had a purpose in this. Not to mention Tigress having access to the account. So how can you scam without Josh not being able to go in a computer to see where the money was going to, what was coming in, and who all had access to it? Right. And giving an account to somebody and knowing that you plan on doing something else. If anything, you would not have allowed these people to have this much access freely to your business venture if you planned on ripping off the community. He was an expert, writing grants and all, creating a business, the nonprofit, and not to mention a politician expert and fundraising.
Right.
So how could he play with these people? These were highly educated people skilled in these areas. And Kevin was just Kevin coming in, putting his feet in, trying to figure things out. If anything, the evidence speaks for itself. These people were experts in this area. They were there for a specific reason. They all had roles. And Kevin was basically the face at this time.
Exactly. He was only the face, you guys. Well, not only, but he was the face of it. But he had his co-founder that was doing a lot of the background work. So you get what I'm saying? So I'll go ahead and play this back for you. But right in as soon as this video plays, he's gonna identify himself as the co-founder of Be the Evolution. Okay. So I'm gonna count down from 3, and then as soon as it plays, he's gonna admit that. Okay. And he'll probably give some more highlight on it as we continue as well. 3, 2, 1.
I am the co-founder of Be the Evolution. As many of you know, I made a long post on my...
See, he is the co-founder, but we'll continue, okay, and give some more insight so that we can, everyone that's coming in, Mama Texas coming in, and we'll be able to, reiterate some things that we had observed.
Full resume, you could call it. I can't really show it to an employer. Nobody be like, who the fuck is... Anyways, maintenance man, engineer. You'll see the resume. I would highly suggest, if you haven't before listening to this audio, to go to my original post, read it in full. Don't be lazy. It's important for content.
Right here, he stated that he was the co-founder, right? But he made this post that said, "What happened to feeding the homeless? You collected donations while living in a mansion like pastors do." But this is the deflection. This is taking all accountability from Josh, because Josh had the accounts. Kevin never had it. That's and he's going to admit this in this discussion, you guys, okay? And that's why we're breaking down this video. So his flyer is a manipulation, and I want everybody to understand this.
And I just want to say this real quick as well, sis. At the end of the day, it should not have gotten to this point where we are now. When that conversation was leaked, that Josh thought was clearly to clear him of any wrongdoing. When he said he had to give the money back to Kevin, and Kevin and him went back and forth and discussed why. Now we ask ourselves, okay, why did he give this money back to him? And why is Kevin explaining what this money was for? And Josh is admitting that he took this out of the account because he felt like it was owed to him, when this was 2 separate reasons. And he trusted them all to do what they were supposed to do.
Right.
They're the experts, and not on their character. And remember, they all were volunteering at one point. And
well,
that shows
when you're starting a business, especially as the co-founder, you're sacrificing as well. Everybody was sacrificing. Those donations were specifically to help Kevin receive his nutrients from after receiving surgery from stomach removal. You get what I'm saying? That had nothing to do with the business. So the fact that he stole that money for his own selfish purposes, he denied the followers and Kevin of that funding, and that was not fair, nor was it right.
And not to mention, all of these people volunteered their services to Kevin. They trusted Kevin. They saw something in Kevin that had potential of going someplace. Everybody, all these people, he didn't seek them out. They seeked him out. A conversation led from, let me help you, someone watching him, which was Josh. I'm good at this. Let me help you. You're just starting off. It went from volunteering to pure greed, to people seeing things in him and seeing what they can get from him. They knew that they were skilled in certain areas, and they used that against Kevin. And especially at his weakest, vulnerablest point of being in the hospital. And you thought this would be a good idea. All of a sudden now you want to speak up and say he owes you. You've done this and you've done that. You volunteered that. He's a scammer, but all of you had access to the fund as well as being able to go into the computer. That was your expertise, Josh. But
Yes.
clearly, you would rather stay behind the scene. You thought you were going to be able to rip this man off without him knowing. You thought more money would be put in the GoFundMe for the purpose of the tube food. But when he needed it and he asked you about it, instead of you apologizing, instead of you admitting your wrongdoing, you felt scared. You felt like you had no choice but to give this man the money for the food. Other than that, you would not have given anything back to him. You could care less about his health when
And
this had nothing to do with the business. So
right.
the community should be upset with these people instead of Kevin because they had access to these accounts. He's on a phone call clearly stating that he needed this money. If he had access to it, why is he asking someone else for the money out of the account if he was able to just go in there in the first place and pay for this? Make it make sense.
Exactly, sis.
Context. I'm not gonna waste too much of your time. I don't like being on camera. It's weird. What is this? What is that? See what I'm saying? I don't like being on camera. Anyways, I will be at the end of this so you can get my thoughts of what we all heard. Even now, I have people asking me if the things Kevin said about me were true as far as me stealing from him. That's interesting. Anyways, I'm going to let the audio play itself. It's just a conversation between him and I. I'm going to let you guys decide. You, the people, you, the community that has supported him, us at one time. By the way, hi, Kevin.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi, nice that you unblocked me. I don't know why you blocked me initially because I never said anything against you until you lied about me. I pretty much faded away and didn't say anything, so I don't know why you blocked me. It's just kind of fucked up, bro. Anyways, let's get to the audio.
So let's start here. I want to rewind and clarify. So the word specifically used was "I stole money from you," and I know you've said this before when the money wasn't there. Now, when the initial incident happened between you and I, it was "Don't worry about it." He was like, I think it was just like, "Don't worry." I said, "I'll pay you back," and he was like, "Oh man, it's cool. Don't worry about it." Obviously, you wanted me to pay you back at that. I mean, when I'm talking about when it first happened, not like when I actually had the job and everything. Like when it first happened, you were like, "It's cool, don't even worry about it." And then, what later, it was a problem again. It was, "Oh, you not paying me back, even though you said you were, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Well, I mean, if we look at the whole spectrum of what I've done, $1,200 isn't anything. Like as far."
So basically, he's saying the amount that he took wasn't even that much because of the work that he placed into his business, co-founder, his business.
Far as that, if we just like put that as water under the bridge, as far as I put all the work and time I did for you was water under the bridge. I think that's
volunteering.
that's a hell.
Say it again, sis.
Volunteering. Now he feels like Kevin is obligated to pay him. Now this is a GoFundMe and this is his business, their business, partnership, two different things. We got to keep that clear when we're thinking about this. Someone that volunteered their services to help Kevin start this business that they are in partnership with decided to go in a GoFundMe that was separately made for Kevin's tube food. Went in there and took the money out and said $1,200 is not nothing. But yet it cost Kevin $1,200 a month with 4 cases that Kevin needed that were $300 each. But this man paid Kevin $200 a month. He didn't pay the $1,200 back in full, which had he paid the $1,200 back in full, that would have been for 1 month out of the 4 that Kevin needed tube food. 4 cases, $300 each, not $200. So he still was short, and it still prolonged his healing process because of him being greedy. Someone that volunteered their services in the first place, now they feel like Kevin is obligated at his weakest vulnerable state in the hospital when they're confronted about stealing something that was not donated for them. The donations were for the purposes only of Kevin and the tube food that the community provided to help Kevin. And Kevin still had to come forward and ask the community again while he was sick. You cannot make this stuff up. And all of these people volunteered their services. But now they feel like Kevin owes them. If you can't tell me that this is not a motive, then I don't know what else is. When you volunteer your services to someone, then that is clearly a volunteer. If they choose to pay you, if they choose to pay you for your time, then that is because that's what they choose to do out of the kindness, out of their heart. And Kevin, I guarantee you, would have did that if it gotten there. But this man could not wait. This man could not sit back and allow this man to heal. He decided to go into a separate account and take some money out that was not for any purposes only, but for the tube food. And he's upset that he has to pay Kevin back the money that was for Kevin and his purposes only, and not for him, not for Josh, not for no one else, but just for Kevin directly from the community.
Hell of
But
a
we don't
steal.
see
I'm
the
not even going to say
videos
it's
and the
fair.
outrage.
Exactly.
I'm going to say that's a hell of a steal for everything, you know, that I've contributed towards you and your
No, and I,
movement.
and if we had that conversation, and you said that, I agree. Yeah, absolutely. If you had been paid per the hour or for what you did, even just by job, you would have made a whole lot more than $1,200. My point was, Josh, that money is for my food. Like, I don't have the money. Like, it's not like, okay, so that was the conversation.
And that's why you got your money back. And that's why I paid you back.
Right.
So.
Right, of course.
Okay. So I paid you back. And then, you know, when we had that phone call, like I said, I would have vividly remembered, because again, you're saying it's for food. I get it. You would have never, again, if you would have threatened my life, you wouldn't have got the money back. Now,
I didn't threaten your life.
I guess you just was gonna beat my ass and just walk away.
But now he's upset with Kevin for being upset about him stealing. But he's going to admit that he stole it, even though in the beginning of this, he's been trying to scratch around the surface. But we'll continue.
That's kind of
my threat. Like, I didn't know what to say at that moment. I was just mad. So
like I said,
there was nothing I could do to get you to pay me. You felt like you shouldn't have to pay me, and so I just got mad and yelled the first thing on my mind. And like I said, even I wouldn't be capable of doing the threat that I said. It was just, I was mad. That's what came out of me.
Okay. Hold on a second. So, you know, like you said, it's like, don't even worry about it. Didn't even happen. I put it behind me, and then I paid you back. I want to say within like 3 months. I paid you back $1,200. I was like $200 a month, I want to say. Or I think it was like $200 a month, and I gave you like $500 at the end or something. It was like a big chunk at the end.
Yep.
Do you hear the amendments? He ended up paying Kevin back. What did you have to pay back if you didn't take anything? You paid it back $200 a month. It was a requirement for Kevin to have a minimum of $300 for one box, which he needed at least 4 boxes in 1 month in order for him to have his nutrients. You deprived him of that for 1 entire month and paid him back payments for 3 months, $200 a piece, and then $500 at the end, or whatever the amount was. It was not a sufficient amount. He suffered for 2 months strong to even get that big chunk at the end. You get what I'm saying? So he was required to go back to the public to ask for more donations so that he could actually get his money for the tube feeding, because Josh stole from the first half, from the beginning.
Absolutely. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you, sis.
Okay, and not to mention, sis, and Kevin played it in another video as well as Josh posted it. He cut out a part at the end of the conversation him and Kevin had where a woman solicited Kevin for sex. And Josh asked Kevin about that. Now, mind you, Kevin played it down, and Josh had the woman on a 3-way as well. And the woman yelled out, "I sucked your thing. You didn't tell anybody about that."
What?
But he didn't put that part on there.
Right. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. It's
so
crazy.
Why would he feel it necessary to ask about that? Why would Josh go get this woman about this conversation that has nothing to do with that. So clearly he was trying to slander Kevin and catch Kevin up in something. And Kevin downplayed the whole thing, not knowing that Josh would have this woman on the phone. And this was
Mm,
at the very end of that conversation that Josh just conveniently cut off. Why didn't he allow that to be on there?
mm, 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 mm. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, what we're experiencing, what we're seeing, well, Kevin has experienced it, but what we are seeing is so unreal. The things that are happening right now.
It's so sad. And on top of that, sis, remember, Kevin stopped this woman. She came on to him. And we've heard
Right,
about this several times in this incident. Kevin's stomach was hurting as well at that moment. He wasn't feeling well. And even if it wasn't, Kevin is not one of those men that are sexualized or sexualize women in that manner. He has respect for women. He
right,
respects his wives. He respects others. And he
right,
values a relationship, partnership. He doesn't look at a woman in just a sexual manner and
right,
think that is her duty. This woman solicited him and he
right,
stopped her.
right.
But the conversation went into something else to where she said she did something. But yet that clearly never took place. But this
Ma-
guy, Josh, thought it was necessary to have her on a three-way.
Mama Texas, I wanted to ask you a question. I asked everybody this question earlier. And I want to ask you, where did you originally hear this story about Kevin Wesley from? And you don't have to type it in, but just think about it. And where did this information originally come from? And let's think about it. Um, are there any documentations or other resources that can be referenced to speak on this information so that we can cease the offense? Because I don't want to be offensive. At least I'm trying to aim to not be offensive, you know? And so, but when we're trying to speak of these accusations, it's hard to speak on it and give my observation and seek possible vindication for someone who could be judged wrong without referencing it to a source, right? And so the only source that I have been able to find are through the mouths of people. You get what I'm saying? And so
Mm-hmm.
I see that with me speaking on this, a specific person, as far as this conversation, has been feeling attacked. And so my question is, how can I not come off as if I'm attacking someone and try to get some type of clarity on this situation? How do I angle that without seeming as if I'm attacking someone? Because we all, Texas, you were a witness that I did take accountability for attacking Neo when I first came out, right? And I stated that I would not attack anyone, right? So my purpose, I went back to my main purpose, and that was for the vindication of Kevin Wesley, and for also seeing the justification of some of the things that were done wrongfully in my observation towards Brother Bennett and Brother V. Bennett and Brother Shaka, right? So now I'm trying to go back over some of the accusations that's happened to Kevin, because it's a few people that I've noticed that weren't they haven't seen, the history of it, and it was years ago. You get what I'm saying? So I brung a lot of the testimonies that Callie made about this situation, and I gave my observation, and other people are able to give theirs as well, right? But his last couple of lives videos and discussions, he clearly felt offended. So my question is, how can I cease the offense without referencing the person that brung the information? And if anybody has any idea of how that process works. You know, Sister Texas says, we also have to ask, why is it that so many people are claiming they were wronged by Kevin? I know each situation is different, though.
Can I say
Exactly.
one thing too? I mean to
Yes.
cut you off.
Yes, Mama.
When you have to think about this, okay? Take in count of the fact that all these people that are coming forward with these accusations are exes, ex-best friends and exes. And you have to ask yourself, what are their motives? We have two people that are coming forward that volunteered their help, that had access to these funds. We have another person that has made a video but has fell back, named Josh, that was a business partner, that took from a GoFundMe that we heard on the audio as well, that had access to this. They're calling Kevin a scammer. They're saying he did this and did that when all these people had access to these accounts, not to mention the man, Josh, that paid Kevin back the money that he owed. He owed Kevin. He ripped off the community, but Kevin has been the one on trial. All these people have came forward with accusations that Angie, as well as myself now, has been trying to debunk, has been debunked on several videos, as well as Kevin. So these same people are rallying up together. Callie, as well, is getting people from Kevin's past, as well as the woman that has had no proof. She said she was flown out, okay? But yet on the text message that Kevin has shown clearly shows she paid for her own ticket. She tried to claim that he was paying for tube food and whining and dining her when she paid for her own ticket. So you have to take in account of the fact that these people are all bitter people from his past. And think about your past and your past friendships, your past relationships with people that you are no longer in contact with. Are you the same person you was 5 years ago? Have you grown throughout this whole time in your life journey? Are those people from your past gonna benefit you in your future and where you trying to go? Sometimes we no longer are able to serve our purpose dealing with the people that were attached to us in our past. And it doesn't have to always end bad. But this is one person that was angry. This is two exes that were hurt that Kevin no longer wanted to deal with them. And he explained those situations so many times and how it ended. And Kevin would not be where he is today if he was still in contact with these people. These were people that he trusted. These were people that had access to his accounts. These were people who had access to be able to see where the funds were going. And if this man was trying to scam, we have to ask ourselves, would he have gave these people so much personal information to access accounts, to go on a computer and see exactly where these funds are going, if he had the plan of ripping people off? But that anger and that frustration and that cloud has been over Kevin for years because of his ex-best friend. His ex-best friend that was upset, that has been saying the same things for 4 years. Had none of this been full in effect if Kevin didn't come forward defending his brother. So his ex-best friend decided to team up with his brother's ex-wife. And from that point on, it's been bigger than what it was. And me and Angie looked over the evidence and we saw for ourselves that this is clearly someone that has been innocent of all these accusations and has been lied on. Have you ever been lied on and victimized? Have you ever been ripped off of somebody and you're the victim and they point at you and they say, how dare you? They point at you when you ask for things back that shouldn't have been taken from you in the first place. When you pay a full amount of rent and all of you are renting a room in a house and then you ask for their half and they're upset with you.
Right. And
This is the
even
same thing, no different.
right. And even Tigress, in her statement, she stated that, Kevin's credit was bad. You get what I'm saying? He needed her. She stated that. You get what I'm saying? And all three of them have stated that Kevin was broke. Kevin didn't have any money. So let's think about it. If he didn't have any money and you guys had the and two people, at least two people had the access to the funding, and if one person stole the funding, then how was Kevin wrong? What did Kevin do? It
It's so
is
sad.
upsetting. Thank you, Texas. And I understand it's very conflicting, especially with Mama Texas, because she is a supporter of Chief Cali and NeoX, and I know that meeting my platform was in opposition of this whole situation, but so I don't want to make it seem as if I'm pulling strings. You get what I'm saying? And I don't want to make it seem as if anybody should have to choose or decide. You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? And so,
Absolutely.
but I still want to be able to stand on the principle of what I have been seeing from my own observation. I've looked into Chief Cali's testimony and his experience, because it is his experience, and I gave it into consideration to honestly see if it was a possibility. Now, with listening to his testimony as far as the shroom ceremony, he stated that these thoughts were in his mind. And so he acted off of his thoughts. And so, as of recently, he stated that he never said anything about Kevin being a sexual offender. And I think most of the statements is he tickled a little girl. But in his recent rage against me and Kevin, he highlighted that he had the name wrong. So now we're going back to the story. And that is the part that confuses me. And then because he said he had the name wrong of the first baby mama, but it was the first baby mama that acknowledged to you how Kevin was being flown out to different ceremonies and rituals. It was the first baby mama that had given you acknowledgement, and you said you spoke to her personally, you spoke to her yourself, you knew exactly her, and you referenced that you knew it was her because she had passed away. And then you turned around and said that it was another baby mama, because the white has a lot of baby mamas, but apparently only one of them has passed away that we all know of, right? So you said it was a different baby mama. We haven't heard any statements from anyone except for Shy, because eventually the statement was it was women standing around that witnessed it, and Shy happened to be one of them. But even in Shy's statement, she stated that he was not a sexual offender. So now everybody's at a point where they're saying he's not a sexual offender. But if you look at the recent past slash past videos, a lot of content creators have been questioning accusations of Kevin being a child molester. So where would they be referencing this information from? They would be referencing this from Cali's original statement, because nobody else brought this information out. And this statement was a few months ago. And then Shy came on to back that statement, but to make light of it as if it was just tickling. But every other platform is saying he's a predator, or he's in agreement to predators because of what Dwight Howard may have going on, or other content creators may have going on. It's not a justification, especially if you're stating now that he's not a predator. It's not fair. It's not okay. And so now Kevin Cali has went back into that statement saying, well, if I can get the name wrong, if you can say you have a stomach and you don't have a stomach, then I can get the name wrong. And it's really no comparison, because even if my ovaries as females, even if my ovaries were removed, am I still wrong for saying that I'm having cramps or I'm having pain in that area? Am I still wrong for that? I'm identifying an area. And do I have to explain to you that I feel like my upper or lower intestines are in pain? That just doesn't sound right when I can just identify that my stomach is hurting.
Right. Not to mention, Texas said, yeah, I wanted clarification on the child also. That came from Angie has two videos that she played, as well as Kevin, not the last video, but the video the day before yesterday, where Callie was upset. And he said, if you could say I'm on drugs, then I could say you messed with a 14-year-old. So that came from a place of, you said this, so I'm going to pin this on you. When clearly there has never been any type of accusations that has came out against Kevin besides these accusations Callie said. And then now they're trying to take back, but it already was out there. It already was in question. So you saying people told you that he was tickling a 14-year-old and everyone was around, right? So all these people said he was tickling a 14-year-old. We were around, but we got uncomfortable. But we watched the situation closely. We assessed the situation closely. So if you were uncomfortable with the way he was tickling a 14-year-old, if that was your child, if you was an adult in the room, when you immediately stopped that situation, when you immediately got that child out of that situation and said something to him, but you sat back and you just observed everything from that point on. There's no reason for you to even mention it if you didn't react in that moment. And another thing that was stated from Callie from that night, from the Stroon incident, he said when he was in the house with Kevin, which was in the back of Dwight's house, because he was managing Dwight's property, okay? He stated that Kevin said, when you take these Stroons, you're not only going to hear men moaning, you're going to also feel like possibly you would be attracted to the same sex. Okay? So not only you're going to hear men moaning once you take these shrooms, but you're going to be attracted to the same sex possibly. Now, would any straight man say, oh, well, what the heck? I'm going to take this anyway. Or would you say, no, man, I don't want that. I'm not going to take these shrooms. I'm in a house full of strangers. And not only if you're telling me that I'm going to possibly feel this way, what if other men that are around me that are possibly bi or possibly not bi, but when they take this, they're going to like other men and they come on to me, I'm going to be uncomfortable while I'm under the influence. But you decide to take it anyways.
Right.
Make it make sense. But we see you clearly on the steps, comfortable, laughing and joking around and having a good time while you're under the influence with your friend Kevin there as well, which you gave him consent to film. So
And
any straight man would never take something like that. They would have punched you, or not even punched you. I wouldn't even say that. They would have said, no, bro, I'm straight. I'm good. I don't want this. I'm getting ready to go. As well as the fruit situation, where a grown man is standing over you with a bowl of fruit in your face, and you claim they are gyrating their hips. So you're just going to say, go on, man? Or if you feel uncomfortable and someone is coming onto you in that moment, you might lash out and punch them, especially your initial reaction as a straight man. So all these things are in question that have taken place that night. But now, nan time, you got into a fight with another man because clearly your sexuality, you claim, was being not questioned. Your people were coming for you. People were trying to make you what I'm trying to get the words out right. People were coming onto you while you were under the influence.
right.
And you did not get into any altercation that night. You were okay with the way everything played out. That doesn't make sense. We have to look at the evidence itself and base our opinion and observation on what Callie as well as Kevin has given us, and it's not adding up. Any straight man would not have went on their day, would not have been rolling on the steps, would not have been laughing and happy in moments where they claimed that possibly a man was coming on to them. It doesn't make sense. If
And I
it doesn't fit, you must have quit.
Right. And I want to identify this question. Texas said, I understood that the same young girl was in the bed with Dwight and his son. Now, there was an interview that Brother Callie did with Let's Talk with the Moral a few months ago, and he stated that this this young girl, from my observation of the interview, was Dwight's daughter, and he was caught sleeping in the bed with his son and his daughter. And somehow that made one of the mothers upset. Now, to me, that doesn't line up, because if if a man is laying sleep with his children in the bed, where is the harm in that?
Absolutely.
Where is the harm in that? But that was his statements. So I'm just only going based upon what Callie said in that interview. Um, Neo spoke so highly of the both of them when we first met, exactly because Callie and Neo, Callie and Kevin, they were friends, but not only that, but they had a mutual business agreement where Callie would film things. He was the photographer, he would film things, so he was getting paid for a service. But they did hang out, you get what I'm saying? But a lot of the work that Callie was doing, as far as filming, these were activities that Kevin already had in place. Kevin was a speaker. Callie would come out and film or take photos. Kevin would do music. Eventually,
Mentorship.
and yes, and eventually Callie would even add on to some of the rap music, but most of it was the work of Kevin. And then Kevin was Callie's mentor. You get what I'm saying? So the downplayment, and now if you play some of Callie's old videos, from years ago before the shroom incident, Callie admits to a lot of these things. But not only that, he even has videos where he's saying, me and my bro, we do a lot of things together and things like that. So he's showing initiative as if they were doing it together. So he's taking away he's taking away from Kevin a little bit, if you ask me, in my observation. But not only that,
Mhm.
in his interview that he had with Aboriginal Power, he stated, when me and Kevin were friends, we did a lot of stuff for the community. We did everything for the community all the time. But now that they're not friends, the question is, what has Kevin done for the community? But if he did these things with you, you guys are no longer friends. How do you know that he hasn't done anything for the community now?
Right. And
And
on top of that, sis, you have to think about the interview that Kevin did 4 days ago as well. Callie was in the chat, and Kevin asked him to come up and say what he wanted to say to him. And that was as close as they got face to face. Callie did not want to come up. He declined like he has several other times. So you have these accusations out about this man that you claiming allegedly made a 14-year-old uncomfortable, allegedly had you at a shroom ceremony, and this and that was supposedly taking place. You have the opportunity on a public platform to confront this person that you have been making videos about for years, that you have gotten all his exes together, business partners, as well as other content creators together to team up against this man. And you have the chance to say your piece and say how you feel as a man. The second he invites you up, you decline. But you decide to go to your own platform. To your own platform. And this wasn't Kevin's platform. This was another content creator that was interviewing Kevin against the accusations that Callie put out. And Kevin explained them. And he said, I bet Callie won't come up here. Callie, come up here. And what did he do? Immaturely called him a fruitcake and said, I'm going to let him have it. Just like he has several other times, but he decided to go to his community. He decided to go to his own platform, make another video talking about Kevin, calling Kevin out for clearing his name constantly, since he's had several other videos that have came out since that interview. He's had other content creators speak on Kevin as well. But he does not feel it necessary to confront this person that has done all these bad things, that is a leader of the community, that has scammed people, that has ripped people off when he claimed to needed tube food and other things. But you don't have anything to say to him. But you would rather go make videos on top of videos. It doesn't make sense.
Mama Texas, I know the concern that you've been having about this child, because every time we speak on this specific topic, you're here, and you have you comment of interest of this, and I know that you are great supporters of Callie and Neo. But I want to ask so many people, for the sake of a possible victim, a child, if you would go to Brother Kevin Wesley's page and try to hear him out. He has so many videos where he's been trying to explain himself. And if you look at Callie's videos, Callie would say, he's talking about me again. He keep talking about me. He won't leave me alone. But how can I speak on these things to defend my name if I cannot speak on the reference, on the source? You get what I'm saying? And I know that a lot of things may be, he speak from emotion because he's heard about it, but he's still giving his side of the story. Just give it a chance for me to hear it out. Um, you know, um, and that's all I ask everybody. Let's create an open door to give him an opportunity to hear what he is saying, because he's been going for bats trying to defend his character for years. For years, and the accusation of the child is the most recent and added on accusation. It happened just recently, this accusation. It never was a part of the original accusations from the beginning. Never. And Callie stated in his interview with Aboriginal Power that he was told this a month after his first video years ago, but he never brought it up until recently. That's a concern for me. That is
Mm-hmm.
a concern.
If
But
he
we're
really cared about the child, why would he hold on to it to all of this time? Not to mention, we heard out of his own mouth, and Kevin never said that Callie's on drugs. Now all of a sudden, yes, Kelly does look delusional. Callie does sweat. Callie does repeat himself. I came to that conclusion as well myself when I saw him on an interview. I did
but
not want to go
Callie
ahead.
also has videos where he stated how he suffered from drugs. He stated, he gave his testimony about that, about how he was taking drugs all the time, and he talks about how he overdosed. He has plenty of videos speaking of that. They're older videos, so a lot of people in this recent time, they have not done the research to see that. But I just ask, in consideration, before we demonize a man, let's take looks back into the past a little bit to see where things are coming from, because it wasn't his first time referencing his higher self. The shroom ceremony was not his first time that he had a discussion about his higher self and asking, who is Callie? That was something that he had previously before the shroom ceremony as well. He had, and so we're just gonna continue this video and give some more insight on this. But so far, we've made it to where Brother Josh was acknowledging how he did take the money and how he ended up having to pay and within months, and not a whole entire amount at one time. Thank you so much, Mama Texas, because before I become friends with anyone in this situation, before I just let people that I support, you know, um, you know, I'm is not to be against anyone. That's not my intent. At least as of now. I know people may be a paranoid from the beginning, because I came out very emotional. But as of now, in my recent videos, I have not been in an emotional state. My main purpose is to clear Kevin's name. And that's what I have been trying to do. And so with that, if with me speaking, all I ask is that everyone, if you do not believe my word, at least go and look at Kevin's side, go and look at Callie's original testimony, get a pure understanding, and try to seek an analysis or a comprehension, see the differences and change throughout time, start to ask certain questions, especially when it comes to the safety of a child. That's just something that I can't play with. You get what I'm saying? So I did have to look at Callie's side. I did have to take a look at Callie's side, because if Kevin is making a child uncomfortable by tickling them, I definitely would not want to be the voice to defend that.
So we fast forward, and now they're aware of the situation. So I know that was
And we
discussed,
hope
even though
that
you said
once you
we're
listen
cool
to
and it was
both
water under the
sides,
bridge, whatever.
you allow yourself to be open-minded enough to see things clearly, like the bigger picture, the overall. If someone is stating all these things and they're not putting actions behind it, and all these people, if you pay attention to their words and what they're saying, they clearly have a motive. They clearly are upset. They are clearly in their emotions when they're explaining these certain situations. Kevin backed them up in so many different text messages that he exposed, from his ex-girlfriends to people volunteering their services that now come forward and says he owes them. These are people that volunteered to help him because they saw something within him. They saw a leader in the community. They saw someone struggling with the computer. They saw someone that higher strength was not in this area. So they volunteered their services. And when they got upset with him, they decided to team up with someone that was Kevin's friend, that Kevin provided mentorship towards. So it just doesn't make sense. You have to ask yourself, what is Callie saying? Is Callie credible? Callie has had several chances to confront Kevin about all these accusations, but he backed down and decided to go on several different platforms. Imagine if someone is poking you, and then you finally decide to stand up for yourself. When they make a video, you decide to make a video defending yourself. Kevin is online. Kevin is a mentor. Kevin is a leader of his community. Kevin is an influencer. Kevin is an author. Kevin is all these things and more. He has every right to defend his character. And especially if someone is making video after video saying that you are all these bad things and more. How could he not defend himself?
Right.
This is his livelihood.
I mean, let's look at the timeline. He went from being a cheater to being gay to being a child, making a child uncomfortable.
To a womanizer.
Yeah, like when we look at these things, all of these things, these are horrific things. You get what I'm saying, to someone's character, especially if they're saying that they're not that. So when we have all of these horrific identities, well, let me see what's going on. How did he turn from cheating with a bunch of women to trying to sleep with men to assaulting a child? Like, what is going on with his mindset? Let me go look at some of his videos to see what was going on with his mindset. Kevin has to stop stooping so low just because he feels someone else is especially as a life coach. It looks off there for hard to relate to. For example, calling Neo a scammer because she called him one. The thing is, and I understand where you're coming from, and I respect that as well. I also understood where Neo was coming from, and that's why I was stating to her that it was certain patterns within herself that she could possibly want to seek a little more healing within, so that she could cease a lot of the continuing cycles. It was never the specifics when I spoke to her, right? But with Kevin, you got to think, he's been dealing with this for 4 years. And he's been having to fight for his name for 4 years against his ex-friends, his ex-girlfriends, and not only that, but a lot of supporters and followers who are listening into this information. And now we have new content creators who are adding on to the situation, all because they merely had a disagreement in how Kevin went on to somebody else's platform. I mean, let's think about it. Do I necessarily have to ask you for approval before I make a decision? And even if that decision is not necessarily in your favor, is it okay for you to make judgment on me because of that, or to treat me in a certain light because of that, or lying on someone because they lied on him? He never lied on anyone. I just don't understand that logic. When we listen to what Kevin was stating, because NeoX apparently has statements in regards to her, that she is stating that is not true, right? Kevin has statements in regards to him that he's been stating that is not true. And what he is stating is that I'm only asking that we stop. And if you stop, that's fine. But if you continue, then him being emotional, he's stating, I would be able to show you how it feels, and it doesn't feel good. Is he right? Maybe not. But at the same time, is he wrong? Not really either, because
I
it's
do want to clear something up,
it's
sis, real quick.
understandable.
Right. And the lesson behind that is, well, Neo did scam Kevin, if I'm going to be honest with you. And he put it on his community. Neo claimed that she donated $100 to Kevin. And clearly he shows the receipt where it was $40. Okay. He gave her back 100 based off of her belief. But she did not give this man $100. She only gave him 40. So she scammed him, and she never gave it back, and he provided a receipt, but she never provided a receipt when it came to that.
Well,
She
the
can't
reason
find it now.
behind that was, first, it was Neil was saying that she gave money in support of Kevin, and she felt strucken by what was going on with their differences of agreement. And so she basically said, I wanted my money back. Or she highlighted to him that she did donate to him. So he gave it back, but he gave 100. And she stated that she felt bad at first for receiving the money, right? And was wondering if she should possibly give back a portion, right? And then she also stated in one of her videos that that she felt some type of way about him sending that amount, and made it to me, in my observation, made it seem as if he was trying to shut her up. And so what he was stating in return to that was that if if you feel any type of way about it, then send the money back. Or if you can't find the receipts that you stated that you would provide, then send the money back until you do.
And it's
And
just
that's
mind-boggling
right.
that the sad part is people act like life coaches, therapists, and counselors as well can't fight back.
Or
They
don't have
provide
tools.
Exactly. They provide effective tools for communication. Yes, they do. But it takes two. No one can say that because of a human.
Right.
And
She explained. She said she explained it before he even sent it. Yes, but he was acknowledging that she was still having concerns about how she felt about it, and he said that if you feel that way, then send it back until you do.
mm-hmm.
And that's what he was saying. And it didn't have to be an offense. I understand that everybody has emotions within this. That's why I wanted to back away from having my emotions involved, so that we can at least have a voice of reason within this entire situation. Because, when you get into a web of emotions, it's hard to hear each other, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense.
And it's
Because
just sad because just because a human expertise in what they specialize in, we feel as though they can't have feelings, they can't have emotions, and they can't defend their name, they can't fight back. But after someone pokes you for so long, and I'm speaking as a content creator now, I'm
right,
speaking from a human side, I'm
right,
speaking for someone who has had similar experiences as well. When someone makes several videos about you and you make one in response, people are used to you being the calm, cool, and collective person. They're used to you calming down. They're used to you not making this kind of videos. They're used to you not speaking out. Well, that's not fair. We all, at the end of the day, have emotions. We all, at the end of the day, have the same human experiences. You know, some similarities, if not the same. But for someone to think that he should not feel the way he does when it comes to defending his name, that is very wrong. And
Right.
that's not right of us to put such a higher standard on him because of his expertise. But when it comes to them, they should get away with slandering his name. This is an educated woman with law experience that has slandered Kevin's name, that has publicly said these claims. That was an ex-girlfriend that volunteered her services, but no one said anything to her when she went on platform to platform,
But
stating these things about this man.
they'll say he's going platform to platform. But let's just envision this for a moment. If we're a man, let's put ourselves in the shoes of a man right now and say there's accusations out there of you possibly tickling a teenage girl and making her and everyone around uncomfortable by it. How would that make me feel as a man? How would that make me feel as a man? I understand you, Texas, that you wouldn't conduct business that way. But me, honestly, and I get it. But if I, as a subscriber or as a follower, if I was to give donation in concern of someone who was having surgery, and I felt in my heart at that moment to care, to donate my earnings, even if I eventually go down my timeline to have a disagreement with him or to not want to follow him anymore, I don't think that I would necessarily want to ask for it back because I am emotionally upset with him.
Or I wouldn't necessarily go on an emotional rant or smearing campaign because I'm upset with someone. How many videos can you make saying the same thing, going from platform to platform, convincing other content creators to be upset with this person just because you guys are no longer friends? You also have to think about if this was your son, this was your brother, and this was your father, and they was a public figure, and they once was cool with this person or these people, and they all gang up together, and every accusation that they put out has been debunked. And here we are at this point where we saw for ourselves that this man has been slandered. He has every right to defend himself when people attack him and people have constantly poked him. He has every right to come out and debunk these accusations, to defend his name and his character that he has worked so hard for to get to the point where he is. This was his friend. And this has been someone, like Angie stated, that has been poking him for years. And he's finally responding. So how is he wrong? I ask myself that all the time. If this was my brother and this was my father, or if this was my son, I would not feel any different. I would want him to defend himself. I would
Yes.
not want him to continue to ignore these accusations that are out, that are serious against him, that could possibly ruin business ventures for him down the line. These are videos that are not deleted. These are videos out there. If you type in his name, this stuff is attached to it. So he has every right to make evidence that clears his name. So when a person looks at this, they can look at his video as well from a non-biased perspective. And they can see his side of it. They can see that he's providing receipts as well to
I
all
would
these things
be
that these people are stating.
right. I would be concerned if he wasn't trying to defend himself. That's where I would be concerned. So when he's defending himself and he's going on these 7-hour discussions and he's going on the same platforms where Callie has spoke of his name and he's going on those platforms to speak of his name in defense of himself, I don't see that as crying. I don't see that as hopping from panel to panel. I don't see that as him being emotional. I see that as a man who is standing in defense for something, and it just so happens to be himself.
And his reputation, and he's calmly explaining away the accusations. You have to ask yourself who is emotionally unhinged when they're speaking on this person. If these people were so much so wronged, take it to small claims court, take it the legal way. But instead, you cowered out of that and you decide to make a video. Kevin has as well stated, and let me make sure I'm clear on this, that Neo donated $40. At first, he did not know that.
It was
But when
30.
he went back, it was $100 that he donated to her, and she has not given that back to him.
Well, Texas is saying I understood that Kevin was claiming she never donated, and that's what started it.
He
Well,
didn't think it in the beginning, and he went back and he
well,
said she
you got to
provided
think
the
about it
40.
like this. Let's think about it like this. If he's stating that she never donated it, what would make him make that statement in the first place? Because he wouldn't, if she never donated it, he would have never even been able to acknowledge that in a statement. So we have someone who stated that she donated to him. I donated to him because I believed in him. I saw what he was going through. I saw what he was trying to do. It made me feel good at the time. That is literally how the acknowledgement of any donation happened. So now we have Kevin, who possibly spoke in emotions or anything. It started from, I don't recall any donations, to a point where now, throughout their entire differences, it turned in, she never did it. But it's an emotion of frustration because we continue to have these differences of agreement. We continue to have these things that's going on. You get what I'm saying? And he is allowed to frustration just like everyone else is.
And he
So
didn't know. He had to
right.
go look back. You have to think about this. In that moment, he didn't know she donated. What if 10 people donated that day? What if 15 people donated? What if he was in the middle of doing something and he did not know she donated? And he gave her $100. He said, well, I didn't know you did. And he sent her $100. So he went back. He went all the way back to find where she donated. And then he posted that as well. We have all, as content creators, as human beings, misquoted something, misstated something.
Well, no,
But
he
that doesn't,
he he never he never posted anything. He never found any proof of these donations. And what she stated is that it was through her PayPal and not Cash App, right? And so he, basically it's the whole frustration of, well, either show the receipt or send the money back until you find it, or he's
no,
stating
he
that,
said it was 40, sis. You hear me?
oh, 40. Well,
Yeah.
and then she's stating that, well, she's stating her feelings towards it, he's stating his feelings towards it. But if we look at this logically, we can either say, okay, I'll possibly send it back until I find the receipt, or I'll just keep it and look for the receipt, and if I eventually find the receipt, I'll give it to him. Either way, that can be discussed. But instead is, I think he did it to hush me, and he's saying, I think she never sent it. You get what I'm saying? So now we're even in the argument, and it's not fair to look at his side as wrong because he's
He
responding.
misstated something. And that happens as human. We have accidents. When we misstate something wrong, when we misstate something, does that mean that we're crucified because of that? I've always said, yes, stand in your truth, stand on your word. But at the end of the day, in that moment, like you said, Angie, in the heat of the moment, we can misstate something. Okay, we can get something wrong, but we also can backtrack
And I
and
can
fix
understand.
that wrong.
And I can understand that. Texas says he said he looked for her name and couldn't find out, and only Kevin knows how true that is. Not calling him a liar though, or Neo, right? Because even if we look at it, two sides to the coin, right? So Kevin saying that, then we'll have to turn and have the same question for Neo, right? So
Exactly. And he also stated in the chat, he asked her for the receipt. We can all go back in our Cash App, and whoever we've sent cash to, we can provide a receipt. So if she's saying she's done such a thing, and she's talking about how she was believing in him at one point or another, right?
right.
And he asked her to provide her evidence just like he did as well. She did not do that. But why ask for the donation back if you do not plan on providing a receipt? It doesn't add up. If you claim you sent something to someone and you're asking for that money back, at least do the right thing and provide that receipt so that person knows. And she kept changing the number as well. She said 30, then she said $40.
Well,
Anil isn't responsible for showing no receipt, but she's the one that made the claim.
even through it all, there's wisdom in this lesson. And the wisdom is before we become emotionally stricken or driven to donate our or to give out to someone, and and not foresee into the future, and whether we would like them or agree with them anymore and want our donation back, how about we just hold it off altogether? And that resolves everything. And then if I had already done this and I disagree with them now, I have to count my loss somewhere and move on. It's just that simple.
And why bring it up or ask it back if you're not going to provide a receipt? Why make a big deal about this if you're not going to provide a receipt? The proof and the burden clearly lies upon Neo. If you put these accusations out and you claim you gave a donation and you want this money back, why not put your receipt out there so you can get back what you want? Why call them a scammer, this and that, but you don't provide the evidence? Who would want to be accused of something and who would say out of their mouth they want their money back and this person is willing to give it to you? And then you say, but I don't want to provide a receipt. It was $30. No, it was $40, something like that. I don't remember.
It's
But you
like
want to bring it up.
it's like he's in a place of no win, and that's not fair. Because I did it wrong, or I gave you the wrong amount, whether it be over or under, I'm still wrong. And that's the part that um you know that that I'm trying to get across. Like when you are angry at someone, there is nothing that they can do or say that will make you see them in a different light until you have to heal from the anger. You have to calm from the anger so that you can see that maybe the intent was not as malicious as you may feel. And we can possibly see this as a window to move on. You get what I'm
Right.
saying? And that is the major concern. And so we're gonna continue this video real quick. And you okay with that, sis? Or you want
Absolutely.
Okay. We're gonna play some more, and then we got a little bit more after where we started from. But because of Sister Texas, riding it out with us, and my platform is still in the moment of growth. I really appreciate her coming through, especially from the beginning, because you know she didn't know who I was. Nobody in on this end of the saga necessarily knew who I was. So, I'm giving great appreciation for her being here. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
as far as that whole incident. So I know they're aware of the situation happening. So, and then for some reason, it sounds like you tripled the amount that was owed. And again, I'm hearing that you wanted to beat my ass, or you threatened to beat my. I wasn't going to give it back, but then you threatened to beat my ass, and then that's what did it. That's what I guess I cowered under pressure. of an ass whooping, and I paid you back $3,000 something $100. So how do we go from $1,200 to like $3,000 something $100? Because I know you wouldn't have. I really don't believe you would have like forgot a number that drastic. Now if it was around 1,800 instead of 1,200, or if we're in the ones, I understand it because that makes sense. Like the thousands, like 2,000 is even like that's kind of weird. But 3,000, that to me signifies you're looking to be drastic and like some kind of like I really did something, or I don't know. It seems like you're trying to pull more out of.
Like again, in this moment, he in my observation, he has a sense of embarrassment. So he feels like, well, you don't have to make it sound bad or worse than what it is. You get what I'm saying? With him identifying that he did take the money
out of it and actually happened. So
All right,
I don't believe it was like
let's look at the scenario, bro.
Go ahead.
I got a woman on the phone with me asking me why I don't share her shit, why I don't get closer to her, why I don't tell people to invest in her shit, give them their money. I'm trying to explain to her I haven't known her long enough to do anything like that, and I'm not going to do that. Okay? I told her, me and Josh, we work together every day. Like, I knew this nigga with everything in me. And when he needed that money, he got that money. Now, he didn't do it maliciously. I made this clear. You thought that I was about to give me a big old donation, and I would have never needed that shit. That's a fact. But it didn't happen. And so now I need this money. Whenever I came to you for it, it was a shock to you too. We both thought I was about to do all this shit. He didn't. So again, and what I told you was, if you don't pay me back, you did steal that shit. Like that's a steal because you didn't pay it back. You know. Now when I'm talking to her, I may have said he stole. I may have used the word stole. I don't know. But the amount, that shit wasn't important to me. All I know is that that's what a GoFundMe was, or around about that much whenever I saw it. He called me last night and said, what was the amount? Or asked me about the $3,000. I told him, I sent him the screenshot as well. I went back and counted it. It's definitely $1,200 or something. But $3,000, me going from $3,000 to going from $12,000 to $3,000, that was not an appeal to try to stretch things or make things dramatic. It wouldn't have mattered if it was $500. My whole point to her was, I'm not doing that. It wasn't about the amount. It was just saying, Josh took the money out of the account. And I told them you paid the shit back. Like, I don't understand. And you have to think, why are they coming to you? Is she trying to start some shit? What's the reason that she came to you? She could have took that shit as an answer and just said, okay, cool. Okay, I understand why you the way you are then. Because none of this shit is really here. Like, bro, at the end of the day, you went into an account and took money out. I'm not saying that don't make me wrong for telling her this shit. I do feel wrong. Like, I do feel wrong, even though I didn't tell her that to try to hurt you. That wasn't my point. That wasn't my reason. My reason for telling her that was to be honest and sincere with a team member that's really trying to move forward with me. This is why I am the way I am. I'm not sharing none of y'all stuff like that. Like, y'all could rock with me. We could be a crew together, but I'm not letting nobody as close to me as Josh was. That's exactly what it is. Nobody's gonna get like, like, man, you had all my money. You sent the money to me every month. Like, I trusted you with everything. I'm not doing that shit no more. Because it can come back to haunt me, especially if I'm telling somebody to deposit money in her account. Nah, I'm not doing that.
The money came into my account. Right, you remember
no,
that,
I'm
right?
saying, no, of course.
Did everybody hear that? The money came into his account. So when everybody is trying to figure out what happened to the money, he stated that he took it. He ended up having to pay Kevin back, but he only paid him back in payments, monthly payments. He didn't pay him back in the full amount. So Kevin was forced to have to come back out and ask for more donations because Josh had took the money from out of his own account where the money was going to. He stated this in this video. So if anybody is continuing to ask what happened to the donations, they need to be asking Josh and not Kevin.
Of course, that's what I'm saying. I trusted you with everything. What I'm saying is,
the reason I asked is you said I went into the account. Like, your account was with my account. Like, my money was with your money. Like, in the midst of each other. Like, so okay, I don't.
All I know is that when you go on the GoFundMe, it shows you an amount. And when I went to take the money out of the GoFundMe or whatever, or get you to send me the GoFundMe, you said you didn't have it. That you had used it for something.
Rent
Yeah.
at the time.
As a matter of fact, no. As a matter of fact, it was it was a portion of it left, and you sent me what you could, but because you didn't have the rest of it or whatever.
Correct.
And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I was intending to have a job at that time when I got laid off, and I didn't have one by then. I wasn't dependent on.
Anonymous.
Do y'all hear that? He was looking for a job. So he took the money out selfishly for himself, even though Kevin was suffering. And instead of taking accountability of saying that he needed funding for his own personal livelihood, for his own bills, and he took it instead of letting Kevin get his tube feeding as far as the subscribers thought that they were donating towards. Am I making sense?
Absolutely. And he keeps stressing the issue, Josh, it was in my account. No, you were in control of the accounts. That was your job. Everyone had a different job. Like Kevin stated, he trusted you with that money, and he will allow no one else to get that close to him to possibly do what you've done. You went into a GoFundMe account that was made purposely only for Kevin's tube food. And you did not have a job, and you did not ask Kevin, and you decided to take that money that was for Kevin's purpose only, that the people donated for Kevin only, for the tube food, and pay your bills with it, whether you were on the account or not. That's a business account separate from a GoFundMe account. Those are two different things. I cannot stress that enough to people. So when people are coming forward and saying Kevin is a scammer, Kevin used the tube food when he did not need it, clearly in this phone call, Josh is the one who took the money. Ask Josh, where is the money? That's what the community needs to be worried about and asking instead of Kevin. Somebody that was in a hospital that was down on his luck, that was scammed from a business partner, someone he trusted, that volunteered their services. Just like Tiger.
Tigress.
Yes, Tiger. Tiger. She is a tiger. But we'll save that for another day. But he trusted these people, and for a reason only. He trusted them enough to get close to him to have access to those accounts. And they took advantage of that in the most vulnerable state of this man. And everyone else is coming at Kevin. Someone that was in a state where he could not do things. But he came forward again, like Angie said, and he asked the public once again to correct Josh's mistake and donate to him because he really needed it.
And now he's offended because Kevin spoke about this to someone. But you got to explain, why are you doubling back for more donations when we already sent donations? You got to explain it. So, Josh, you have to take accountability. You took the money. You stole it. But he doesn't want Kevin to say stole or reference him as a thief because he felt like he was owed. And that was selfish.
It was just, I didn't have it at the time. And again, it was rent. So I wouldn't have.
He didn't have it at the time, and it was rent. Selfishly. But this is your business too. You're the co-founder. You both have to endure. You both have to make sacrifices. Kevin needed to live. There's a difference.
And have a home to work out of, or work, to go to work and come back at 2.
So. No, I knew you needed it. I knew that you had something that came up which needed the money. But in the conversation we had, we both thought.
Well, not only that, but he knew rent was coming. He could have informed his partner. And I think that earlier, or in one of these parts, he did inform his partner. And because of the set amount, his partner even was willing to give him a portion. But all that Kevin was requiring was for him to be able to have enough for his tube feeding. But there wasn't enough that came in. Just like Kevin stated before, a lot of people did not necessarily donate. So there wasn't a lot of money.
Exactly. On top of that, like you said, this man knew his rent was coming up. Everyone knows, anyone. Don't think You're going in blindsided. When you first start a business, you're investing your own money, you're investing your own time, you're investing your energy. It's going to start off slow. You're not going to see your investments for a while. So this man should have had a job as well. He volunteered his services. So keyword volunteer. Volunteer doesn't mean you're going to get interest back. Volunteer doesn't mean that this man owes you anything. You decided to volunteer your services for this business that you both were a part of. So when rent came up, you decided that it was okay while your business partner was in the hospital and to go into his GoFundMe. That was only for the purpose of his tube feeding. It had nothing to do with the business that you guys was creating together.
Right.
You should have had a job as a man. You knew life went on after this business that you both started. You knew bills were going to be due. You knew you needed a roof over your head. And that solely lies on Kevin now and his donations for his tube feeding. And the community is outraged and wanting to know where the donations are. I think we need to figure out and ask Josh, why did he do this? How could he do this to someone that was his business partner? Where's the outrage of him ripping Kevin off? Him leaving Kevin in a vulnerable state?
Him ripping the people off.
As well, and the accountability that lies in this man that we hear it not in his voice at all whatsoever. He has not taken accountability for what he's done. And Kevin, being a nice person that he is, he's downplaying the situation.
Right.
He's playing it down, being nice. When I could tell he was hurt more than anything.
Right.
You take my personal health is the last priority over you paying your bills. You could have got a part-time job somewhere. You are a man, a grown man that knows life goes on. Life goes on and bills have to get paid. And you sacrifice that at the cost of me, my life?
Right. My actual life. Not even my place to stay, but my actual life.
Mm-hmm.
We both thought the money was going to be there. We both thought that the white was going to do this shit, and it wouldn't even have been a problem. I wouldn't even have noticed the money was gone, or we wouldn't have cared about the money, or whatever. We was talking about hell. We wasn't even focused on that no more. We was focused on born winners, because hell, why do we have to worry about the surgery now if he's saying he got it covered?
Right.
You know, we was trying to build a business together at that point, so it wasn't like that. My whole point was not even the point wasn't even that you had taken the money. It was that you felt like you didn't have to pay it back. When our first meeting was, you were volunteering, and that was my argument. Of course, the work that you did after you were volunteering, is definitely worth money. But when you're volunteering, it's not fair to ask the person that you're volunteering your time to pay you when they don't even have the money. Like, my whole thing was, you definitely deserve the money, but bro, you know I don't have it. You've seen every dollar that came to me. There's no dude. You can multiply that shit 3 times, and I couldn't have paid my bills with that shit. And the outside public think that I'm getting all this damn money. Like, there's no way.
So
I was fucking struggling, and you knew this shit. So
yeah. So once I was helping you out and I was volunteering, I did say if you needed to, a few things here and there, that's cool. But you were very aware that when it came to me, like as far as like on a routine basis, on a day by day routine basis, like a weekly show producer, I did the video editing, all the stuff. I don't have to run through the whole gamut of it, but it got to a point where this person needs to be compensated, and I agreed. And when we first started doing like the show and like when we linked up and everything, I remember we had a conversation as far as like the nonprofit and me being compensated, and you were talking about the interest and things like, because you owed me from before, like, so, and I never said like, oh, I'm a volunteer. Like, we agreed, like there should be a monetary compensation at this point. And even when money started to come in, you would say I need everything basically, because you didn't have much, and you had children and things like that.
And you stood behind it. You would even suggest it yourself, like, bro, you need this shit. Like, you need it more than I do. Here's the thing, bro. Like, all of that is true. I was most definitely asking you to be a part of my board when that shit got up and running. I explained to you that I had of course, a payment plan for everyone whenever they, whenever the nonprofit got to where it was and the donations and where they should be. Honestly, it should be so busy you wouldn't have to go get a job. You would work for the nonprofit. That would be the goal, is to get that shit banging so much that we out here helping so many people that's really all we have time to do. Not have to go to work and do that at the same time. So when I'm talking to you about being a part of the board and stuff like that, I'm saying when it get up and going, I can't offer you money if I don't have it, but I wanted you to be a part of the overall organization.
Mm. So, like I said, it very quickly it progressed into, hey, I'm reaching out to you. I don't know you. I see that you lost your job. If you need something like to help, like figure out something, I'll let you know. I'm here to help you and things like that. That was our first initial. Yes, that was me volunteering. Again, when things started picking up so much, and again the money started coming in and things like that, that's when it definitely shifted. So it hasn't. I probably stayed a volunteer probably, and I want to say when the podcast started, sure. I was a volunteer for most of that time. I want to say when we got the Facebook page going and we got obviously the website, but that was a little bit down the line. We got the Facebook page, we got the moderators. I was there. Like I said, I was there a lot. I'd probably say 2 months of volunteering out of and we've been working together for about close to 2 years. So yeah, I wouldn't. I guess I just want to make sure for clarity's sake that I don't want you to think that it wasn't just because obviously I spent a lot of time doing a lot of things um, to help you. It wasn't all just for voluntary purposes. Most of it was not for voluntary purposes. So um, I don't know what. Again, I can't speak on like anybody else as far as
He just admitted that it was for voluntary purposes, but then turned around and said that most of it wasn't for voluntary purposes. So his idea of starting with this co-founding relationship was that he was already going to reap the benefits. Now he took accountability that he was the co-founder. He took accountability that he was volunteering. He also acknowledged how Kevin stated how he wasn't deserving of his work and his efforts. Now, he highlighted Facebook was running and they had moderators. Now, I don't know about a lot of people, but me starting with my platform, getting moderators and starting a channel does not take too much time and effort. I'm not saying that what he didn't do other than that didn't take time and effort, but I don't think that starting a Facebook page and receiving moderators can justify time and effort. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong at all. And on top of that, not to mention, when you felt like you was owed something throughout this time, you should have spoke up in that moment. You shouldn't have wait when you were caught red hands stealing something. When you
Right,
don't ask for something and you take it from someone without their permission, that's stealing. There's no
right.
other way to look at it. So when all of a sudden you're caught doing this, when this was just for a sole purpose only that had nothing to do with what you volunteered for. This GoFundMe had nothing to do with outside of what you've done for Kevin voluntarily. But now when you're paying this back and you're going over everything, you decide to speak up and say, well, when I did this, I wasn't volunteering. Well, when you did this, you will put time and effort in here and there, but you needed a job in the meanwhile. So you're gonna wait all these months.
And not get a job.
Exactly. On top of feeling like once you've stolen something, now this person is obligated to pay you or feel bad. What were you doing beforehand? And clearly you knew that this man was just starting a business. Like he said, you knew the money that was coming in. So at the end of the day, of course, the person that this business is for, they're just picking up as well. They were falling on their luck. That's why you reached out to volunteer your services. So why do you feel like he should feel guilty for paying his bills? That's what you first do when you're first starting a business, when you're first getting on your feet. You take care of the main things that are needing to be taken care of, which is the
Right.
things in your household as a man. So that is not Kevin's fault that you did
Exactly.
not take care of your personal responsibilities outside of you volunteering your services.
Exactly. You hit it on the head, sis.
You as well.
Let's
No,
hear anybody else. I really don't. I can just speak on my situation with you. So, I just, like I said, I just don't understand why I get it was. I just don't understand why my name was brought up. You explained it.
So now we're changing the subject to why your name was brought up. You stole the money.
I don't think it made sense to bring me up at all.
I should have just said somebody. I shouldn't have said a name and none of that shit. I shouldn't have said a name. I should have just said somebody. I've been through a situation before. You live and you learn. And about the what's the name? You volunteering or whatever. That line is completely blurred to me because there was never a time where we sat down and discussed that you weren't no longer a volunteer. Like, dude, I thought you was helping me. I thought you were helping me until this shit got up and going, and then it was gonna be like, bruh, you part of the business. Same thing with like Born Winners. As soon as you was 50% of that shit, like I wasn't trying to do you dirty in no way. Who gives somebody 50% of something that they have a platform to sell? And you don't just give somebody 50% because they make a website. You pay them for making a website. You allocate them funds for doing it, or a certain percentage off your sales. But who gives somebody 50% ownership of a company? Like, who does that? I literally saw you as my nigga. You came alongside of me when I ain't had nobody else, and I wanted that shit to come back for you to be like, I'm glad I helped this man. This man, he really is a good dude. Like, he made it worth my while. But the shit never fucking took off. And by the time it got to that point, you was tired of it. You wasn't making no money doing it. You needed a job so you could survive. And you saw the donations was not coming in. So like you saying that it took off, but we both know it never took off. This is why you got out of it. You was like, this shit is not going to take off. People don't donate. You too good. You give your time for this shit. Your heart's too kind. These people don't give a shit, bro. They're going to take your time. They're going to be on the live. They're going to listen, and they're not going to donate. That's exactly what's going to happen. And you keep on believing, and I'm saying that they're going to do it. And then, of course, you were saying you hadn't wrote a book. And I'm like, but I made an album. Like, you can't take me not writing a book and say I ain't do nothing all year. Come on now. I've tried my best to make this shit. I'm working. I'm out here trying to make this happen. These were the conversations that we were having. Why aren't you, financially stable yet? Why ain't you here yet? Like, my book ain't completed yet. But I definitely was trying to put material out there. Like, no doubt about it. It wasn't like I was just sitting on my ass doing lives. I was trying my best to make this shit happen, but people just wasn't getting on board with it. If I could go back and obviously I don't expect this shit to mean nothing to you, but if I could go back, I wouldn't have said your name. Like, I regret that shit wholeheartedly. You don't deserve it. To have your name drug through the mud. And the fact is, it doesn't matter why I said your name. All that matters now is what she gonna do with your name, and it's fucked up. I agree. You have every right to be upset, but I did not say that shit to try to make Josh look bad. If I was gonna do some shit like that, bro, I'd have went live right after that shit happened and said, Josh took this money. I need a donation. I need help. If I was gonna really try to be dramatic to ruin you in any kind of way, I didn't say that to get money out of her. I said it to her to let her know why I wasn't promoting her shit. That's really what it was. It wasn't like, let me just tell everybody what Josh did to me. And I wouldn't do that. People asked about you just on my last show. And I told them that they was like, wish she could have him back. He was super duper logical. And I was like, yeah, me too. But Josh had to go back to work. And it was like, I'm happy for Josh. Well, me too. I mean, you know what I mean? But when people ask about you, I don't say shit negative about you, bro. That shit right there, I felt like it was relevant to say that. And I thought I could trust who I was dealing with. Apparently I can't. And again, when the conversation I had with was telling.
You know what bothers me about when I do a lot of research on this? Did Josh say both of their monies were going in the same account? This is so confusing. Yes, these money, Josh's money, and it's so crazy how. And I thank you for saying that, Texas, because earlier in the video, didn't Josh say that his money was in the account and Kevin's money was in the account? Sis, did you hear that?
I did.
But he's explaining to Kevin that he didn't have any money and how he needed help with paying his bills and how he felt like he was undeserving of money. So that's crazy to me.
That is, sis, and I gotta point something out as well. If he
Oh,
thought he was owed this money and he took it out of a GoFundMe account, that the purposes were only for health supplies, that is stealing. If he felt owed it when he thought that came to his mind when rent came up and Kevin was in the hospital all of a sudden, right? That's when all of a sudden he feels as though this money is owed to him. Then to say that it was an accident, that the money got mixed up. But like you just said, sis, he didn't have any money. It shows how much not only this man lies, but his poor character of judgment.
Right.
And if it was an accident as well, he would have had those thoughts to take it as though it was owed to him. And he felt that way. Nor would he have been concerned about rent that he was claiming that was his money in the first place. Why did you add all these explanations to this?
Right. And you know what's even more what I've noticed throughout this entire conversation and even following this story, that Kevin has been very trusting to people. And these people have taken, in my observation, not to offend anyone, but these people have taken advantage of Kevin so harshly. Like when you listen to what he's stating, he's saying, I won't do that anymore. I won't trust anyone like that anymore. He's stating, you know, I won't, basically, I'm not going to do these things the same way. And the fact that he's even having to state that to Josh, and it's not even being considered.
It's so sad. Like you said, at the end of the day, this man that was put in a situation he didn't ask to be in, that solely relied on trusting others to do certain things that they volunteered their services to do, was put in a situation to where not only he had to cater to their feelings when he was wrong, but he had to, from that point on, figure these things out. And like he said, why would he offer someone that volunteered their services out the gate 50%, half of his business, when he is the face, he is the brand, he is the voice behind this business? He is going to be the person that's bringing in these donations. People are going to be donating to Kevin, not the person who is in charge of the account, not the person who is in charge of running the things on the computer or the investments. They're donating to the brand Kevin Wesley itself.
Right.
Because he is the voice. He is the person that they are interacting with mostly. But Kevin decided to offer this man early on half of that. Now you can't tell me that's not a good person. A good person that unfortunately made a bad choice of character when it came to allowing these people that volunteered something that they was not entitled to in the first place, because he felt like he was doing the right thing, because they were volunteering their services, and he wanted to show the same gratitude to them that he thought was shown to him.
What I see is there's a lot of people who say they want to be bosses. They want to have businesses. They want to have great success. But when it's time to make that effort, when it's time to go through sacrificial moments, when it's time to invest, or when it's time to, you know, do the work, they cave, they give out. And the person that believed in them, and the person that was in there doing that with them, they didn't even consider their side of the struggle. Man, just listening to it, it's just like, you know, like it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. It really is. And this has been going on for years. And then look at where he is now. He has a platform, Facebook, 1 million followers. You get what I'm saying? He kept striding. He kept pushing. But now all of a sudden, because of his efforts and all of this, of him continuing to push, it's now, oh, he's trying to be a part of the Illuminati, or he sold his soul. No. Every person's testimony in this situation is a testimony of the things he had to face and conquer and endure to push to where he is now.
Exactly. And nobody should take credit for that. And I'll never forget this. And this is what Kevin Wesley has shared with me before when I was going through hardships. When I couldn't figure something out with the computer and I was frustrated. He said, when you go through hard times and you face hardships, you should be grateful for those people that are teaching you those things in the moment. Now you know how to fix that situation yourself when it comes to the computer. Now it forces you to learn those things that you counted on those other people to do. And had he not been betrayed by a long list of people that were running his account, business ventures and things like that, they will own half of what he's worked hard to do, half of the things that he's done, his mentorships, his brand itself. So that situation forced him into learning things himself, teaching him a lesson along the way. So we all should look at this situation and learn from it as well. Had we all not went through something in our life that we counted on someone else to teach us and guide us through, it would not have forced us to be the people we are today or the outcome that we have. We've learned from it. So use his situation as a lesson.
Yes, because honestly, when you are starting in entrepreneurship, whether it be through volunteering or even investing in your money, you get what I'm saying, and you have a partner, which a lot of people don't even start off with partners. You get what I'm saying? Realistically, you're still going to have to seek a job to fund your life. That's not Kevin's fault. That's not Kevin's fault. And you stole from these people, and these people had a right to know where this money is. You want to know why? Because to this day, they're still asking Kevin, what happened to the donations? That's crazy, man.
Telling him the situation that we went through. It wasn't even the fact that he took the money. It's not even the amount of $3,000. That's stupid. That's neither here nor there. We get lost on the wrong shit. I have no reason to grow the amount to prove a point. My point was I'm not sharing her shit. Yeah, I was wrong with the amount. Big whoop. I mean, the point was you took money out of that account and it wasn't there. That's what I was trying to tell her about. And when I was telling about whenever it got time for him to pay it back, when I asked him about it, we talked about it. He didn't feel that he should have to pay that. In my opinion, that's not that type of money. I needed that money for my stuff, for my food and shit. We shouldn't be having this conversation, you know? And I had to threaten him just for him to like respond to me. And you, again, that's where we get lost in, or misinterpretation. You don't think I threatened you? I actually did, but I'm glad you didn't hear it apparently because I would have gotten shot. But long story short, or you wouldn't have paid it back. So
Correct.
Maybe it's good that you didn't hear that shit. But I definitely did say it, and you was just like, so it's like that, and I'm like, bro, I really need this money. Like, I gotta eat. So you gotta think about this. Think about the situation I'm in, bro. That money was donated by people. That money was donated from the people that helped me eat. That's not the money that you take. And I even told you even after that, like, bro, if this shit take off, I'll still get you money. Like, that's not a problem. I feel that you should be compensated as well because of how much you've helped me in the past. No doubt, dude, I'm still feeling the loss of losing your ass. So yeah, every day I sit at that computer like, fuck. It's still hard for me. I still feel that shit. No doubt about it. You was a 100% a benefit to what I was doing. But again, me wanting your help in that way, or recognizing that you brought that much to the table, that's no grounds for me to go around and destroy you. I have no need to do that. Like, I wouldn't do that. Like, this is what she's doing.
Well, that was the audio, folks. You guys decide. Am I lying? I mean, you said the word stole for a reason. You made the amount triple what it was for a reason. I don't think that's an honest mistake. Several times to different people. All these people heard it from your mouth. I mean, people still coming. I'm not going to bring their names, but they're posted. They posted in my comments. You can read it yourself since you unblocked me for now.
Now, this right here is basically done. He's showing videos of text messages and comments of Kevin acknowledging that basically what he admitted in this video, that he stole the money. So there we have it, folks. People want to know what happened to the money. Josh took the money. Josh did it. So if anybody's gonna be upset, give it to Josh. Whether Josh is still if he's still in denial of what it was because he felt like his worth was more than somebody's life, fine. But be it may, it is still his actions. He did this. He deceived the people. He lied to the people. He took from the people for his own selfishness. And now Kevin has to suffer with people giving accusations on Kevin when they should be asking Josh.
Facts. Very well said. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I think that this was a great breakdown. I appreciate you allowing me on your platform. I think you have done wonderful things, vindicating Kevin. I know he is forever grateful for that. And like you've shown us throughout your videos, as well as Kevin, actions speak louder than words. We heard this man actions from his very own words. He took money from a GoFundMe that he felt entitled to for the purpose of paying his bills. He is the one should be in question of where this money went. That came from the community of the purpose of helping Kevin for his tube feeding. So if we're going to question anybody, we need to question Josh and put to rest these claims about Kevin ripping people off about these donations. We have to start to make things make sense.
Right. And everybody who has started these statements, the originals of these statements, they all knew this. They all knew this. And I hope that I don't have to go back into research to find evidence of that, because the evidence is out there. They all knew this. So what they are doing, in my observation, is malicious. And if anybody wants to seek whether my observation is correct or not, I ask that you do some research as well. Let's do it together. If anybody has any questions, I am not in fear of asking or seeking to answer that question.
Facts.
Because we will get to a clarity of this. It's been happening too long over the internet. And if we have to get to a point of truth, and I am willing to get to that point.
Mm-hmm. And you've shown us nothing but facts. When I say facts, that means everything speaks for itself.
Right. And Texas says, I thought they were always referring to the donations to feeding the homeless. Yes. Even in Callie's interview, he stated that they have done these things together. But not also that, I also have I've done research, and I found a video of Kevin actually donating with his children to the community or to the homeless. He was donating food. It was not money. And so a lot of people, when they were saying, the donations to the homeless, like with the shirts, they were saying, why not donate to the homeless? But that was a product that he made with his money, and he was selling that product. And he had people who said they were going to buy the product, but they didn't want the product. They wanted the product to be given to the homeless. So there's a lot of misconceptions in it. You get what I'm saying? That's causing a lot of people to have like different questions and everything like that. But
Right.
for the most part, the concerns were the donations that Kevin had received for his tube feeding, and then if any donations for the community, which he has done. Callie has stated that he has done these things as well, because they did some things together. You get what I'm saying? It was never in reference to money. that I know of. Now I can correct myself by looking into further information. As a matter of fact, I think that would be my next venture, so we can clarify that as well.
Absolutely.
But I really appreciate y'all for coming through. We're gonna go ahead and close. And Ashley, I thank you so much. You
Oh,
have no idea.
mine.
You are amazing. And you've been able to help with the vindication of Kevin Wesley. And I just ask everybody, go look at his platform, go see some of his videos that's not even pertaining to this situation. Get to know the person that has been the topic of discussion. Get to see this person and see some of his work, or he has short clip videos that you don't even have to stay in for long. You get what I'm saying? To get somewhat of an idea. He has videos of him trying to clear his name. You can look at those videos. Give it a moment of consideration of who it is that have these accusations on his name, and try to see from both sides of the fence where the fence actually is in the line at. You get what I'm saying?
And just think about, I would like to say this before you close out.
Mm-hmm.
People help beyond just the hungry. People help beyond just feeding the homeless. I've known a couple of people that said they do not want to come on the camera, but they also said that Kevin helped get a car fixed, a bill paid. People publicly does not want to always display when they need help or what this person done for them. A lot of people are prideful. So imagine if all those people came forward and said, well, he did this for me and that for me. Yes, it will make a difference. But a lot of people are so prideful that they don't want to come forward and tell when they were really struggling. So I respect that. But going forward, everybody have to keep in mind, when you were down on your luck at the worst and somebody came along, do you want to go on camera and show that? I'll never forget, I saw something somewhere that said, when you decide to feed the hungry and put a camera in their face, just imagine the moment you were at your lowest and people decided to record you. No. And from that point on, I don't say I'm going to do this and put a camera on. Sometimes just doing from out of the kindness of your heart, it needs no explanation. It needs no vindication. You get me?
Right.
Verification. Let me say it right. So when you're doing something to help others, as well as giving out knowledge to help someone run a business, to help someone be a better person, a better parent, a better teacher, a better listener, that goes beyond just the moment of helping someone while they're in a personal need of food. So we have to always keep in mind these things as well. Just because you haven't saw people publicly come out and say these things, that doesn't necessarily mean his help went beyond just feeding the homeless. It takes more to make the world go around besides just feeding the hungry. We can extend our hand, helping hand in so many other different areas.
Right.
That's all I wanted to say, sis. I appreciate you having me up here. You are doing a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you so much.
You are so welcome.
And with that, we are out. Thank you, everyone, for coming through. Thank you, Texas, for being a willing participant in some of the questions and things like that. I really appreciate that. I've been standing for this brother. I've been standing for brother V Bennett, brother Shaka. In my observations, I honestly feel the truth in what I stand it in. All I ask is that if anybody sees anything different that I may not be aware of, be willing to have a discussion about it, and not necessarily be offended, so that we can get to a point in seeing each other's perspective as respectable adults. It's possible, and we don't have to drag it out with a bunch of emotions and chaos. I just want to make that a possible road, and so that's what I intend to. I'm human as well. I may not be perfect with that all the time, but I am trying. And I thank everyone for coming through.
Absolutely. You definitely did a great live.
Thank you so much. Peace to everyone. See you guys probably tomorrow. If not, don't hold me to tomorrow, but I'll hope tomorrow. And see you guys until then, okay?
Okay, peace everyone. It was a pleasure. Thanks. Hit the like button on your way out.
Right. Thank you. Yes, Mama Texas, you're right. And you have a good one, okay? Y'all be
Bye.
safe. Bye-bye.